Yo! Did you watch the Perez videos? Hi, Creeman. No. No, I've not watched them yet. I'm going to do that later. But I will. Well, I saw a clip of one. I saw a clip of one, bro. It's fucking mental, bro. It's absolutely insane. Why am I streaming at 6 a.m.? Yeah, I know, dude. I want to figure out a way. My sensor isn't on this computer. It's not set up. So I need to figure out a way to show it. But it is fucking insane. It's crazy. It is like insane content. Moist Critical did a video about it. That's about as much as I can. Dude, bro, dude. Okay. Because there's less people here, I'll explain the bit. I was going to do that exact bit. That was going to be my bit. I was going to go, guys, I can't show you the video, but I'm going to show you the best approximation that I can. And I was going to show that scene from Hellraiser where that dude's totally fucking skinless. That's what he fucking looks like, dude. That's what he looks like. Oh, it's a classic. It's a classic. The reason I'm early today is basically I've got tradespeople here, so I need to. It's too fucking. I hate fucking streaming when there's people in the house, man. It doesn't work for me. It just feels weird. I can't say what I want to say loudly. It's not the same. So I'm going to stream for a few hours now, do all my sort of new stuff that I was going to do early, and then go away for a few hours. There's also some other things I need to sort out too. I need to phone some people. There's a problem with my fucking water bill. My water bill is fucking raped. So I need to phone the water company and be like, why are you charging me so fucking much? And then later on, probably about the normal time, 1 to 2 p.m., I'll probably go live then. When I used to normally go live on YouTube and just do my normal stream then. That's the plan. So it's a bit like a split shift. I know that you wages are probably familiar with that concept, you know? Yeah, basically, my water bill is absolutely ridiculous, man. It's playing on my mind. So a water bill should be about £25 a month. And mine is like 80 something pound a month. And I looked into it and it's like, yeah, there's probably some sort of issue or leak or something somewhere, which is crazy because I had all the piping and stuff into the house changed because it was all old piping. And it's got to be something that's happened since I've moved in. So I need to figure out what the fuck it is. Yeah, I don't fucking know, man. It's really annoying. And also I need to speak to my accountant about some shit as well. So I need to make some phone calls, basically. So I was trying to figure out the best way to do it without being too disruptive. And I think this is the best way. Okay, so I don't know how it works in America if you Yankoids understand this. But it says here that my daily average consumption of water is 1,687 litres. And the normal one-person consumption is about 176 litres. So my daily average consumption, they're saying, is 10 times the average single person. Dude, what the fuck's going on, man? See, my water was like £86. It should be like £25. I'm extremely hydrated. I am extremely hydrated, yes. Water in the garden. Dude, I'm causing the drought. I'm responsible for the UK drought. So it's just a very annoying thing to deal with, but it's all good. I'll figure it out. Do you think someone's kind of siphoning my water off somehow? They've got like a little pipe, just sort of siphoning my water for free. How much work did the men who worked on your house use to complete their projects? So anyway, it's going to be like a split stream today, which isn't ideal for me. I'd prefer to just do one long stream. It's better in every conceivable way. But I think this is the best way to do it. Shit the bed. Shit the bed. Remember that? You're going to work early? going to work early, and someone's like, shit the bed. Oh my God, dude, my Instagram reels are literally, you know that one meme, there's like one meme, and it's like when you turn up for work 1 minute late, and it's like da 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 da, and then the guy's like, you know, it's like all workers doing like little silly jokes. Like, night shifts here, night shifts here. Oh my God. And I keep seeing it, bro. I keep fucking seeing it. It's making me think of that. I keep seeing it all the time. So literally all my Instagram reels are is that one meme. So, but yes, we've got the Perez Hilton stuff to look at today. I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to do some more on that Malinga, I think, as well. But we'll get to that later, guys. This is going to be a more chill, relaxed politics stream. Oh, you know that football thing I spoke about the other day? Apparently the guy apologised. He's up for re-election, isn't he? Oh.
Gianni Infantino is fighting on as FIFA president. That seems to be the message following hours of emergency talks with his senior staff in Morocco. And there wasn't just defiance. There was an apology for attempting to sell off shares in the World Cup to private investors, but also a warning to critics to shut up now. We've obtained this letter sent by Gianni Infantino and his Secretary General Matthias Grafström to the FIFA Vice President and members of the Council. And in it, it does say that the Secretary General and Management Board in attendance in Morocco, what about those who weren't there, reaffirm their full support for Infantino as the only official elected by the 211 FIFA member associations.
Yeah, basically this guy wanted to like commercialise the World Cup when it doesn't need to be commercialised, and people were like super upset about it. I don't really care about follow football that much, obviously, but I don't know, man. It was just kind of interesting that apparently like Trump's sort of involved. Yes, I'll do the press stuff later. We'll get to that later. I still need to figure out a way to watch it. Because obviously I literally just woke up and thought I'll just go live now for a bit. But yes, I will be watching the Perez stuff. That stuff is fucking mental. And in many ways, Perez Hilton is like the proto drama streamer, really, isn't he? He's a bit like he's a bit like my grandfather. He's a bit like my weird gay grandfather who, you know, touches you a bit weird when you sit on his lap because he's gay.
So, does that firm up his position for now? There are so many critics around the world, particularly from European football's governing body UEFA, who'd indicated in the last week they want him out. We'd seen some FAs withdrawing their endorsement of Infantino for next year's presidential election. There's no mention of the election in this letter from Infantino, but they do talk about what led to the announcement of the attempts to sell shares in the World Cup. And this is what the letter says. We acknowledge mistakes were made in the process of the proposed establishment of FIFA Forward Enterprise. It was certainly not the intention for the FIFA Council and FIFA member associations to feel excluded from the process, and it should have been handled differently. So they believe that it should now be business as usual, and something that's very notable in it, they say over this whole project, while mistakes were made, there's an insistent it was done in full compliance with FIFA's regulatory framework, which is saying that however bad it looked, no rules were broken. Well, UEFA was asking for an assurance that it could not happen.
Dude, I gotta be honest with you, man. It's like 6:30 a.m. Okay, so I'm kind of getting into it. Dude, I literally woke up and just fucking had a shower and went live, okay? I need a moment. I need a fucking moment, okay? Mr. Rapist. Mr. Rapist.
In the end, Joshua Bonehill Payne's neo-Nazi past and his crimes were just too controversial for him to continue as a Conservative candidate.
Dude, that's interesting. Why did he try and be a Conservative? Why didn't he go for Restore? Restore probably wouldn't mind. In fact, Restore would probably welcome it. Restore would probably be like, listen, okay, you might have a bit of a Nazi past. As long as you don't go too heavy against the Jews, you're welcome here. No trouble at all. I don't understand. I do not fucking understand why this guy thought he'd be able to just slip into the Conservatives. The Conservatives are no longer the most racist party.
This was Bonehill Payne addressing a British National Party event in 2014.
We're all going to be accused of being racist. Look them in the face and say, so what? So what?
Way! Where's that energy gone? Let's go. Classic. Absolutely classic energy.
Years later, he found himself on trial.
The reason why I am being taken to court is because I'm a nationalist.
In fact, he was convicted of the racially aggravated...
Hey! Shake your booty! Thank you for the kicks, thank you.
Harassment of Jewish Labour MP Luciana Berger, who said his campaign of hate had a deep impact on her and her family. At the time of his trial, Bonehill Payne was already serving a prison sentence for stirring up racial hatred, although that didn't.
Oh, stirring up racial hatred. Classic crime. Classic UK speech crime. I mean, this guy seems like a total fucking Nazi guy or whatever. Obviously, he's a fucking Nazi. But, I mean, I don't know what he did to this MP. If he was harassing her and stuff, I don't fucking know. But yes, you can get in trouble for stirring up racial hatred in this country. That is a thing that you can get in trouble for, apparently. He was just asking the numbers. He was just saying the numbers. They don't add up. They don't add up.
Stop him performing a Nazi salute in court. In recent years,
Wait, what?
Trial Bonehill Payne was already serving a prison sentence for stirring up racial hatred, although that didn't stop him performing a Nazi salute in court. In recent years, he has been running a satirical website, has become a campaigner against...
Whoa! It's this guy! Oh my god, you guys don't even know! This guy is a total AI slop hack retard, man. Honestly. His videos are fucking terrible. They're some of the worst AI rightoid slop imaginable. Do you know this guy? What, after you transitioned to being a man, what did you take to grow a beard? Did the government pay for your surgeries? Dude, what? Yes. Yes. Dude, you can just tell this guy is like seething. Look, another specky twat. Nothing resigns like you.
Saw him standing.
Oh god, dude, I can't, man. I literally cannot, dude. Also, the other thing is, oh, dude, it's fucking just absolutely dire. It's embarrassing. It's like embarrassing. I didn't know it was this guy. This guy that runs this dog shit AI fucking slop channel. But yes, it's this dude. I tell you the real crime in all of this is the fact that this guy is not being arrested for running this channel. That's the true crime in all of this.
Sadly, you're raped.
Chud, what's a crumpet? I have always wondered.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the kicks. Plants, appreciate it. This is a crumpet. It's apparently, well, I don't know, it was a griddle bread. It's like bread. It's like a piece of bread, basically. You should be careful, mate. The shit you spew sometimes on stream is not so far removed from this guy. That's not true and you know it. You're just saying it to, you know, wind me up. Fuck you.
Anti-Semitism and has regretted his past actions.
On reflection, the way how I behaved in the courtroom was atrocious.
Kemi Badenoch said she personally had approved his selection as a Tory candidate.
I looked at this case very carefully. This was a judgment call.
And this is someone who has served his sentence. And what I feel is that if we can't have the people who have previously been radicalized, who understand what went wrong and are part of the fight against anti-Semitism now, if we're saying, no, 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 you're untouchable, then
There's two things with this. One, cover the Dickers cheating scandal or you're sweeping. Yeah, what is going on with that dude? Right. Dickers is such a fucking irrelevant wretch that I went to find out because I did see something about it and I was like, what's going on there? And I looked up like Dickers on Twitter and all the results that came back were like Review Tech USA because Review Tech USA is also called Dickers. And then apparently he did a stream yesterday where people were asking about it and he was embarrassed and stopped the stream and deleted the stream. And then he came back and pretended like that didn't happen or some shit. I don't fucking know, dude. No, I don't fucking care about Dickers, dude. I don't fucking get... Honestly, man, listen. If you guys want to go and watch shitters talk about shitters, there's plenty of people that are doing that, okay? But I am not fucking covering Dickers. Listen, if it was like an easy little thing that I was like, there it is, boom, I'd fucking show it quickly. But I couldn't even find it because Dickers is so fucking irrelevant, bro. I could not find what I was looking for. All I could find was Review Tech USA, and I was like, this fucking sucks, dude.
how can we pretend that we believe in rehabilitation?
But then this afternoon, Bonehill Payne withdrew, writing, I know that if I stand as a council candidate, other political parties will spend all their time focusing on my past rather than the work I'm doing today, or even fighting anti-Semitism in their own midst. Tonight, the Foreign Secretary welcomed the withdrawal.
Hey! I didn't know Ed Miliband went to the States. Yo! No way! That's crazy. No, I don't think that Dickers raped. I don't think that's what happened. I think that what happened was Dickers had like an e-sexting thing with someone. And apparently he's got a girlfriend. So he like cheated on his girlfriend with some internet void. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Something along those lines is my rough idea of what happened.
Never have been a candidate. It's absolutely the right thing that his candidacy has, that he has withdrawn his candidacy.
Oh, hang on a sec. Apparently he raped and killed a mother of two. Apparently. Unfortunately, Dickers got tempted by the sweet, sweet temptation of some fucking dumb internet bitch. Drama involving Dickers not related to New Year's stream. I mean, I would... I mean, calling it drama is a bit of a stretch, isn't it? He's a literal fucking nobody, bro. He's a sub-100 viewer nobody who can't leech off of my fucking YouTube streams anymore. So he's fucking struggling. Let's call it what it is, bro. Let's call it what the fuck it is. Call it what it is, dude. The shitter industrial complex has been, you know, suffering greatly ever since the move to kick.
I think the Conservative Party is going to have to answer for why he was a candidate in the first place, and also any future activities he might be undertaking on behalf of the Conservative Party.
And Kemi Badenoch has now offered Bonehill Payne a new role as an advisor on radicalisation.
Obviously, the Conservative Party needs to keep a close eye on this to make sure that that is not used.
Dude, the two things I've got to say about this, okay? It's like 6:30 a.m. It's 6:30 a.m. It's way too early. But I'm doing like a split stream today because I've got stuff to do. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Mr. Rapist. Mr. Rapist. But yeah, I'd rather just do one stream, but I need to not be streaming when there's men in my house. There's going to be a few men in my house later. Anyway, what I was going to say about this is that I agree that someone that's passed their kind of past their sentence, or they've moved forward, they're not like that anymore, whatever. Fair enough. But it's just funny that this guy's biggest crime is being anti-Semitic, and now he's got to do this fucking bending over for the Jew shtick because he did a fucking Roman salute in court.
inappropriately, and they own that. It's up to them. But it is clearly a better place than we started the day, where he was going to be a candidate in the upcoming elections.
Tonight, the Labour Party said it beggared belief that Kemi Badenoch had selected Bonehill Payne as a candidate, whilst Reform UK said it beggared belief that she had now made him an advisor.
And Carl is here, as you can
I mean, the thing is, I guess that my thought process here is, if someone is a Nazi, literally got goy walked into being a servant, yeah. If someone is a Nazi 10 years ago, and they genuinely changed their perspective on it and move forward, and they've also had this sentence for hate speech that they've served, what then? Like, are they just excised from public life forever? I think it's one of those where the politics thing you're kind of raped on, and there's not much that you can really do about that, because people are just going to think worse of you, and that's politics. It's all optics. A lot of it is optics. But I just feel like, yeah, so he was very racist a decade ago. Okay. I mean, I don't know, dude. It just feels a bit unreasonable that he's held to account so highly for this stuff that happened a decade ago, especially if he's literally been to prison for it. I think if someone goes to prison for speech-related crimes, because I've got such a disagreement with penalising speech legally, I'm just of the perspective, it's like, fair's fair. You've served your sentence. Let's call it a day and not fucking bang on about it all the time, you know?
I mean, Carl, it does seem quite surprising that Kemi Badenoch wants to double down on this tonight, particularly, you know, a councillor. You wouldn't expect necessarily for her to be this involved as Conservative Party leader. What do you think the point is that she's trying to make?
Well, it's hard to fathom, to be perfectly honest with you, because this is the same Kemi Badenoch who said just a few years ago, the country needs conviction politicians, not politicians with convictions. So she was clearly alive to the political risks of hiring someone like this, even as a councillor, yet she got personally involved in defending him. And this chap, Joshua Bonehill Payne, even though he may well have been rehabilitated, has a string of serious convictions and a number of jail sentences, including for harassing politicians. So it's hard to see how this was ever going to end well. And speaking of which, one of those politicians, Luciana Berger, has spoken more about this tonight, saying the decision to welcome this individual as an advisor to the leader of the opposition is no better than allowing him to stand.
Also, dude, the main issue for me, it's less so the Nazi stuff. I don't really give a fuck about the Nazi stuff, okay? But the fact that he runs this fucking dog shit AI slop channel, and then he's a fucking advisor to the Conservatives, and all he does is pump out utter dross AI slop, which is basically Labour bad, Conservatives good, Reform amazing. That's his whole fucking content, dude. It's not even particularly thoughtful. It's just pumping out AI dog shit slop saying right-wing politicians are good and Labour sucks. Oh my God, dude. And the Conservatives are making this guy an advisor. I tell you what it is the Conservatives desperately trying to contend with and interface with online culture, right? That's exactly what's going on here. Reform do it somewhat effortlessly because Farage has got popularity on the internet. And the Conservatives struggle with it because they're like an old school party and don't really understand and know how to, you know, engage with online discourse and culture. So it's like a sort of cheap way in. Oh, this guy does AI slop videos that some people like online. Let's get this guy as an advisor.
A council candidate, it is a privileged and influential national role. As a victim of this man's heinous crimes, this appointment is an insult. And Luciana Berger is not only the victim of this man's crimes, but she is a pretty impressive campaigner and not somebody you really want on the other side. So I don't think that Kemi Badenoch has heard the last of this.
Hey! Golden Lull's great. Golden Lull is awesome. Can't believe Farage is still a thing after Brexit. I know it's you know, it's crazy. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Now that looks really cool. God, dude, I really want to get a good collectible today. My collectibles have been fucking shit recently. This is the one that I got yesterday. Fucking tea time. Tea time, bro. Physics on British. Physics on British. This is their champion, so bleak, some low IQ goy walked moron. Well, he had more personality when he was a Nazi, didn't he? He had more fucking personality. Oh, yeah. I did see this, dude. I did see this. Portsmouth is a fucking shithole, by the way. Okay? Portsmouth is well regarded as like the piece of shit in the crown jewels of the South Coast. So Portsmouth is like one of the worst fucking places that you can live on the South Coast. Portsmouth Council has apologised after an elderly woman in care was fed dog food by a care worker who seemingly couldn't read the label. Oh my God, man. Where can I find more about this? You know what the first question is going to be. Oh, you know it straight away, don't you? Straight away you can tell. Let's play a game of Guess the Race. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be. Okay, where is that? Okay. If I look up Portsmouth dog food, would it give us more information about this? This is a real account, isn't it? This isn't a fucking joke. No, unfortunately, guys. Unfortunately, there is no further information about this. It must have been reported on by an actual paper, though. Come on, someone must have fucking reported on this. Oh, here we go. This is it here. They've even got a picture so you can visualize it. Yes. A home carer unintentionally fed an elderly woman microwaved dog food. Oh my God, man. Dude, dog food smells bad. Like, because it's obviously bad offcuts of meat. It smells bad. So how the fuck did the care worker not realise when the house was filled with this stench of dog food? Like, oh fuck, I've made some dog food by mistake. Exactly, that would fucking stink, dude. Dog food is it's got all jelly and stuff in it, stuff for dogs. The Radis community care worker logged the meal from the client's freezer as a lamb dinner before a second carer saw the packaging and realised the mistake. And some fucking dementia-ridden old fucking coot couldn't know any different. It was like, oh, thank you. Oh, just getting fucking spoon-fed this fucking dog food. Oh my God, man. Ranjesh probably liked the smell and thought it was a delicacy. What, you saying they're Indian? I mean, if they are of a different race, the likelihood is they'd probably be Nigerian or some sort of African race. Because most of the care workers, well, I say most, a lot of the care workers that come over are from that sort of neck of the woods, so to speak. The food was just one instance of poor care over 3 months with some abysmal failures, the local government and social care ombudsman concluded. Portsmouth City Council said it no longer commissioned services from Radis. Both organisations have apologised. Oh, it gets better. Guys, it gets fucking better. It gets better, dude.
Sadly, you're raped.
30 minutes and no one has told him he hasn't pinged Discord. Wake you be old man.
Hey, Scrimpin! Thank you for the kicks. Yeah, I am a little bit slow this morning because I went live super early. Okay. Okay, one sec. Okay, sorry. Yes, I am a noob. Correct. Okay. The woman ate 3 mouthfuls of the food in June 2024, a month before she died from frailty of old age. Oh, she died as well, bro. Let's go. She's dead as well. Oh my good God. What a perfect story to get me going this morning. It's 6:47 a.m. Very early for me. The meal came from a pack which was labelled fresh take on dog food, and for adult dogs and puppies added. Previously, in April 2024, the council opened a safeguarding inquiry following complaints from the woman's family. Another pensioner vanquished. Oh my god, man. I say feed them dog food more if this is the outcome. Stuff them full of dog food. Let's go. It eventually found concerns that Radis staff had logged visits that did not happen, fed the woman stale and inedible food, and left her wet or in darkness overnight. Oh, dude. Literally, adult nappy, adult diaper, packed to the fucking rafters with piss and shit, sat there in the dark, desperately afraid. Oh, what's going on? I can't see. I can't bloody see. I can't see, John. John's long dead, obviously. Long dead partner. John, what's going on? I can't bloody see. Because of the dementia. She thinks that John's still next to her, but obviously, unfortunately, isn't. The woman's do not attempt resuscitation document was also found scrunched up in a cupboard, the report added. Do not attempt resuscitation. That's pretty fucking bleak, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty much, that's like one step removed from euthanasia. You know, they basically just say, there's basically a card that says, don't fucking bother. Don't waste your fucking time. Don't fucking bother with this old coot. It's not worth it. Zero quality of life. Totally raped, zero quality of life. Shocking case. The inquiry took 6 months to complete and should have taken no more than 28 days. The council relied on Radis' internal investigation and did not exercise proper scrutiny, even though the company was already subject to separate wider inquiry into its performance, the report said. It warned councils could not outsource their safeguarding duty. Ombudsman Amardeep Clark said this is a truly shocking case. Well, the thing is, this goes back to a point that I've sort of said before, which I find quite frustrating with these cases, is that local councils and the government more broadly will outsource work to some total shitter company, and they will do it as cheap as they possibly can in order to maximize profit, because obviously their profit is the gap between what the government pays and how much it costs to provide the service. And then people act surprised when you have like a shit, shoddy service. Well, yeah, obviously a private company is a fucking gravy train, isn't it? It's basically like free money for them in terms of it's a contract that they get hold of, and then they're able to maximize profit by just giving shit care. Why are you acting like the government aren't shit at the job too? Well, I think, and I know this is not like an easy fix. You can just click your fingers and you fix it. But I think, as in many cases with things in this world, a dual option is best. So you have a government-ran provided service that you can use, and you also have private options as well. And I think that, that brings about the best possible scenario where you can either go to the government if you want something cheaper, that's of good quality, but, it's cheaper because it's run by the government, or you want something more premium or higher standard, and then you go to a private company to facilitate and provide the care, I don't know. That's my take anyway, guys. That's what I think. The best option is private care, but they have one government employee to oversee. Yeah, but is that feasible? I don't know how that would work. Okay. Right, let's take a look at this.
But this is taken.
So this is one of my favourite stories in the UK because it relates to a police shooting, which is quite rare. And actually thinking about it, it does have some similarities to the ICE stuff from back in the day. Remember this? Chris Cabba. So
We're
basically
now
this
at
guy...
Barton Road, continuing on straight through the junction onto Shale Road. I believe it becomes Shale Road. Still Tilson Gordon's continuing.
Let's get to the shooting. So they're basically following him. Police stop the car. And then he tries to drive off. And then gets shot on the head once. And he's dead. Do they show the actual shooting? Come on, show us the money shot. Show us the fucking money shot. So yes, that it was an absolutely insane situation. But yeah, basically he was trying to drive away, and the copper at the front of the car fired a single shot, and it went straight through his fucking forehead, bro. Literal fucking movie tier fucking moment. Now, this was massively controversial at the time. And there was loads of protests about it. Because obviously a black guy got shot by police. And it was very much a sort of BLM style. Oh my God, the police are really bad and they shot a black guy. And in the UK, we've got a very different precedent when it comes to treating the police in these situations. So you don't have this kind of protection from up on high that you have in the US, where you can basically shoot a bit through the head and nothing happens because they're trying to drive the car away. So the police officer that fired the shot, okay, the police... I saw the Perez Hilton videos and they were disturbing as fuck. I don't think you can watch them on stream. Dick is supposed to have a cloud for it. Wait, did he watch them on YouTube? Fucking hell, what an idiot, man. But no, I'm not going to watch it on stream. Don't worry. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out, guys. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. But yeah, basically there was this big controversy about it. Jeremy Corbyn was banging on about it, saying, oh, this poor innocent black guy got shot by the police. The body cam footage came out and people are idiots. And so they're like, why did he shoot him when this guy's trying to drive away in his car and trying to drive towards this person here? Right? So he shoots the guy. And the copper was tried for murder. He went to court for murder to answer for his crime of shooting this guy in the head. And then afterwards, it turned out that this dude was like a gangster, like an unironic fucking crazy gangster guy. And the reason the police were trailing him is because he was involved in, well, the police obviously didn't know this, but he was involved in this like London club shooting or had a gun or some crazy shit, you know? And so now apparently there's a further update and he's not even going to face disciplinary proceedings, which is correct, like the correct move as far as I'm concerned. But this guy did what I think is the job of an armed police officer, which is to shoot a dangerous suspect that is like trying to drive away from the scene in a car. And he's been not persecuted, that's probably too extreme a way of putting it. But he has definitely been like kind of, you know, heavily criticised for just doing what his job is, which is shooting some fucking dangerous criminal.
Far, far too long. It is unacceptable that an officer who goes out to face danger on behalf of the public has his life put on hold for that period of time, as well as the extraordinary pressure and stress that puts on his family. It's equally unfair for a family that's lost a loved one, such as the Cabot family, to have to wait that long for the conclusion of a case. The professionalism of our firearms officers is extraordinary. We're running 4,000 firearms operations a year in London to protect communities. They do it with such care and professionalism. We're only firing shots on 1 or 2 occasions. By any metric, with the most
that's the other thing that people in America will probably be shocked to hear. In the UK, firearms officers barely ever fire their weapon. It's so rare that someone gets shot because the training over here is do whatever you possibly can to not shoot someone. Whereas in America, it's the opposite. It's what reason or justification can we find to shoot this person, particularly if they're a minority?
professional in the world. The points raised by this case about the broken police accountability system are the tip of an iceberg that don't just affect firearms officers, they affect every officer going out day in and day out to protect the public. It is unacceptable that if you're prepared to run towards danger, confronting the most dangerous and sometimes murderous criminals, doing your job protecting the public, that you should have your life turned upside down for years and years of unacceptable scrutiny in a process that should take weeks, not years. There are perverse consequences of this regime, and let me give you some examples. An officer can face investigation when they are simply pursuing a criminal and the criminal crashes their car, injuring themselves or somebody else. It's crazy that can lead to the investigation for the officer doing the pursuit.
Yeah, this another thing with this guy is traditionally in the UK, heads of police departments tend to be quite, you know, it's not like in America where there's more of like a sort of wall of blue. What's it called? Wall of silence or some shit? Wall of blue, like when the blue wall. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where police officers are basically, you know, all aligned on the same hymn sheet trying to protect each other. But often police chiefs, commissioners, whatever, will come out and they'll be like, oh, yeah, this guy's basically fucking raped and he's an insane copper. But this guy's been coming out and actually been more defensive of police officers. And this is like another example of that, where he's obviously saying, which is true, it is kind of fucked that a police officer, you know, has to experience all of this investigative oversight. Like the thing is, the US is too much the other way. You know, it's too much the other direction, where in America you could basically do whatever the fuck you want and you have broad ability to do so. Whereas in the UK, it's too tight and police are too scrutinized and are too heavily scrutinized, particularly in instances where there's like a shot fired or something like that. So I think it's about striking a better balance so that you don't have the American system where people are able to essentially do whatever the fuck they want with minimal oversight and scrutiny. Yeah, I mean, the police chase thing, I can see why there might be an investigation there, but it's about the overall oversight that British police officers are subjected to. Where, you know, I mean, another case recently was that you had the guy who kicked the fucking terrorist in the head. Right? Now, he didn't receive, I don't think, like scrutiny from the police department, but you had like the leader of a mainstream political party who was questioning his conduct when he was like trying to stop a fucking terrorist who might have had a gun, who might have had a fucking bomb or some shit, you know? So there is kind of a culture of more scrutiny of police, which can be good to have a better scrutiny, but I think it's like too much sometimes, and you get situations like this where a copper, you know, I think uses lethal force in the correct fashion, you know? And I don't mind there being an investigation, that's fine. But the fact that he had a criminal case where he was found not guilty and then also is subject to a disciplinary proceeding too, because they're two separate things. Like, to me, it's too much. It's too much considering the context of the circumstances of what happened, you know? But some regulatory oversight is good, I do agree.
An officer who arrests a drug supplier, who unbeknownst to them, has swallowed the drugs to hide them, and of course subsequently falls ill.
Wait, what?
Crazy that can lead to the investigation for the officer doing the pursuit. An officer who arrests a drug supplier, who unbeknownst to them, has swallowed the drugs to hide them, and of course subsequently falls ill, can lead to the officer being investigated.
I mean, that is preposterous. That is preposterous, dude. Does that not seem fucking nuts? Some fucking little criminal guy like swallows a bunch of cocaine and then gets really fucking sick, and it's like, oh, what's this cop? Dude, he's fucking swallowed drugs, bro, to hide it from the coppers.
An officer who's arrested somebody suspected of sharing paedophile images, who bails them while inquiries continue examining computers, that officer can be investigated simply because that suspect chose to subsequently, after he'd gone home, take his own life. This and many other examples.
Wait, what, dude? I've never heard of that before. So a guy gets in on a fucking pedo fucking rap, goes home and kills himself, and somehow the copper is responsible. What, because they made the decision to bail them? Is that why? There's actual cases where that happened. I mean, I understand the dynamic, right? If you've got the, you know, if you're a gigapedo and the coppers have got your computer and you know that you're done, you know that you're screwed and there's nothing you can do about it, I can understand wanting to top yourself. Yes, I totally get that. But the thing that's shocking for me is the idea that a police officer can somehow be responsible for that. Mental.
Add together and create a hesitance and a caution in the minds of police officers. Police officers who, I'll be absolutely clear, they'll run towards the most extraordinary dangers. They will put themselves in the most extraordinary physical jeopardy. That they're intimidated and sometimes cautious because of the unreasonable legal jeopardy this system creates.
Yeah, see, that is the actual issue with this. It's not just about blindly defending coppers. It's what consequences are there of having too broad a scrutiny on police officers, in that there could be hesitation in important moments or important police work that could lead to like worse consequences for society. Like, for example, the idea of a person driving off in their vehicle, you know, down a public area. To me, that's like a massive risk to the public, and I don't know what the best solution is to deal with that always. But in the Chris Cabot case, it's like, yeah, do I want some fucking gangland freak nutter driving off into the public, causing whatever risk is present at that time? Or is it better that that person just fucking dies? Well, obviously it's better the person dies, because he's creating such a massive risk if you let him go. And then, yeah, exactly, you know, other situations could be such that there's a hesitation that leads to further harm because the police officer is thinking, you know, there is this oversight, there is this issue, there is this kind of, you know, air of scrutiny that could lead to, you know, severe legal consequence if I make a wrong move here.
It's for that reason the review, the fundamental end-to-end review of the police misconduct and accountability system that was announced by the Home Office last week is long overdue and very welcome. If that can report speedily and bring some common sense to the accountability of police officers, it can help our fantastic men and women do a better, more confident job day in and day out protecting the communities of London. Thank you. I'll take 2 or 3 questions.
Commissioner, BBC News. What are the plans for Sergeant Blake to return to work?
So I'm not going to discuss his personal details. We've been supporting on his return to work, and he just wants to get on and do his job as a police officer.
They fucked it up, dude. What's going on, man? Anyway, fucked up, dude. What's going on, man? Anyway. Oh wait, that's me. That's me. That's me. That was me. That was me. That was me, dude. Oh my god, man. Fucking hell, it's one of the... dude. This is the consequence of going live at 6 a.m. is I just make stupid mistakes like that. Oh my god, dude. It's not because I'm an unk. It's because I got up super early.
The Chief of the Metropolitan Police,
10 months, awesome.
The Chief Commissioner, they're talking about the Chris Cabot case, but much more widely talking about...
Dude, it's barely 7. Why not stream later? Lowe's Ambassador. Honestly, man, if you're not moaning about what I'm covering, you're moaning about some other thing. Because I've got men in the house later for a bit doing a job, and I don't want to be streaming whilst they're here. So I thought I'd stream early, do the new stuff I wanted to talk about, and then go live when they've left, so I could do like a normal stream later. But what I didn't think about is going live so early would be actually... it's fucking... dude, I'm fucking out of it, man. What time did I stream to last night as well? I feel like I streamed quite late. You don't need to tell us about your gay orgies. No, they're mounting. Oh my God, dude. They're mounting. They are mounting my TV on the wall. So I'm just getting that done because, you know, I need to sort it out. Yes, very funny. Mounting. I don't even think about the, you know, the thought process of that word. Yes, don't worry, guys. We're going to do a bit of chilled news coverage this morning. I'll get to the Covent Garden thing.
The pressures that police officers face in the line of duty, especially those armed. So
this is Chris Kaepernick. Now, the thing is, they've chosen this picture of him, like, smiling, right? Of him, this beaming smile. And the officers didn't know this at the time. But the reason that they were asked to stop the car and ordered to stop the car... Oh, is that QQ? QQ, thank you for the raid. Thank you. Hope you're well. Thank you. Thanks for the raid. But the reason they were instructed to stop his car is because he was involved in this kind of club shooting and this gangland violence type stuff. And honestly, man, it was worse than Floyd in that Floyd's crime was trying to use a dodgy bill, whereas this guy's crime was like being a fucking gangster. And yet there was this... Oh, this is it here. Yeah.
Yesterday we told you that the police firearms officer who shot and killed this man, Chris Kaba, had been cleared of murder. Well, today, because that trial is over, we can now reveal more about Mr. Kaba's life. And detectives say the 24-year-old was a core member of one of London's most dangerous criminal gangs. And had he survived, he would be facing trial for shooting a man in a nightclub just days before he himself was shot dead. Here's Julian Drucker.
Because the reason this is important as well is because it speaks to the mindset of Chris Kaba too. Because the police officer didn't know exactly who this person was. All they knew was he was trying to drive off in the middle of a police stop with armed officers, right? But what does it speak to the mindset of Chris Kaba? Well, obviously, he knows that he's fucking done for. He knows he's been caught, right? So he's driving off because he wants to get away from trouble from the police. It's not some innocent black guy scared in a police interaction. He's putting his foot on the pedal because he's thinking, oh shit, I shot a guy and now the police are surrounding me. I've got to get the fuck out of here or I'm going to go to fucking jail.
It is late August in 2022 and Chris Kaba, seen under the blue arrow here, is in a crowded nightclub in East London.
Oh, no,
on the CCTV footage, we see him handling a gun before he allegedly opened fire on a rival.
Dude, honestly, man, this is oh, God, dude. This is one of those situations where all the fucking lefties and all the fucking Corbynites and all that lot were going on doing marches for Chris Kaba and all this sort of thing. And then the copper was found not guilty. And it turns out this guy has got this fucking gangland violence, total sack of shit, worthless fucking cretinous person. Total radio silence. No updates. No. Oh, yeah, by the way, it turns out that guy was a total piece of shit. And, you know, maybe we're a bit too hasty to prop this guy up as some sort of, you know, innocent victim of police violence. It was like nothing fucking said about it, dude. Nothing said, nothing updated. And you just think, well, you know, you've got to be fair in these situations. And surely you would feel kind of stupid having propped up a person who it turned out wasn't some innocent black person that was scared. He was like a ruthless London gangster.
He then reportedly chased the man down the street.
Yes, dude. Yes. Look, this is the protests.
Who are the murderers?
So, this is what I'm saying about it being like Floyd. I forgot how wide scale it is.
The answer is clear.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
But the details of what happened.
No justice, no peace. Where have I heard that one before?
When a police firearms officer shot and killed Chris Kaba aren't. The IOPC has launched an investigation. The family's questions don't end there.
Weird, dude. Wheel out the black relatives. Oh, a fucking gangster's been shot by the police. Don't worry. Wheel out the black relatives to start crying. Dude, it's so fucking classic, man. Don't worry. They've got a big extended family and we'll just get shots of them crying so people feel sad. Perfect.
So the first demand for the family is that we want to know if the officer involved has been suspended. Secondly, we want body cam footage of the incident released to the family. And finally, we want to have a timeline of how long the investigation will take. That's the three demands, and that's the three demands that everyone came out here to support.
24-year-old Chris Kaba was fatally shot on Monday.
Also, dude, this is PR as well. This is PR too. Unless you're very racist, as I know many of you in chat are. He just looks like a regular black guy, doesn't he? You wouldn't think twice about it. You think, oh, poor guy. He's just a, you know, time is money. He's just a hustler. He's just a fucking hustler. But the hustling that he was doing, the hustling was going to a club and shooting someone to ribbons. That was the hustle that he was involved in. But yes, obviously it's a picture that's designed to, you know, present a certain image or impression in your head. It's the black version of what happens when a white guy slaughters all his family and they show a picture of him on a jet ski. You know, that fucking meme. But yes, it's an obvious effort to, you know, influence public perception by presenting a certain impression to the press. Because, well, I'm assuming this is either from Facebook or it's some of the family provided, I would have thought.
Police say the vehicle he was driving in was involved in a firearms offence in the days before his death. He died after a single gunshot. He was unarmed.
Oh, man, I love that. Oh, the classic. He was unarmed, except for the fucking vehicle that he was aggressively trying to drive towards a police officer and away into the public. There's got to be something done about that, dude. This fucking unarmed talking point is so stupid. When someone is dangerously trying to drive a car, they are no longer unarmed. That is a weapon. That is, for all intents and purposes, a fucking weapon, dude. But this is obviously the narrative that was being pushed at the time. You know, he was unarmed. He was just unarmed.
Today, his family described the police's actions as inherently racist. And a friend of the family said people...
Oh, it's just racism, bro. Oh my God, dude, this is unbelievable. Dude, I forgot how crazy this was, man. It's actually racist to perform a stop of a vehicle of a guy that's suspected of shooting someone in a club and then shooting him when he tries to drive away.
Need to find stamina to get justice.
Everyone here today, I just encourage everyone to have stamina.
And the thing that's so disgusting about all of this, right, is this copper, Martin Blake, his name, it became public information, right? He was literally doing his... Oh, dude, it makes me sick, man. He was doing his job to a high standard, to the best of his ability, okay? So he was trying to keep the public safe, which he did by shooting this fucking gangster who was trying to drive away with his fucking car. And he gets all of this kind of negative attention towards him because of lies, because of bullshit and lies and, you know, media presentation. He was unarmed. He was unarmed. And then you look at the body cam footage and he's fucking trying to plow through vehicles, trying to drive away to fucking towards the coppers, towards the public. But he was unarmed, becomes the narrative. And then obviously people have a sort of perspective off the back of that. And they have this negative inference on the actions of the officer. It's fucked, man. Another fucking Floydism thing. Classic fucking Floydism shit.
It's a very difficult thing to say in this.
Fucking Stormzy. They wheeled out fucking Stormzy. Also, dude, this is so performative, man. Hey, sis. Put on the rings. Put on the fucking tribal rings. Stick the tribal rings on. It will give us some extra sort of black credos when we talk about our brother getting slaughtered by that copper.
To go on the journey like this, or stamina to get justice, or stamina to go and get answers.
The Metropolitan Police Force said the officer involved is currently not on operational duties. But the family's local MP says that may not be enough.
All relationships have to start with communication. The police didn't adequately communicate with the family or the community about the instances. That only deepens mistrust, and now we find that we're in a position where there is going to be a criminal investigation, which implies that something went seriously wrong.
Actually, no. The criminal investigation is because we've got too extensive a scrutiny on the actions of police officers sometimes. It's not because there's definitive insight that there's something that's wrong. I forgot how mental this was, bro. Oh my god, dude! The fucking marching
IOPC
man.
says its teams are reviewing a large amount of evidence and that the launch of a criminal investigation doesn't mean charges will necessarily follow. Sadia Chowdhury, Sky News.
But yeah, this was primo Floydism era stuff. This is from 2022. Anyway, what did he get up to here?
Before he allegedly opened fire on a rival.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
He then reportedly chased the man down the street and fired further shots as the individual...
So the other thing about this too is this guy is firing a weapon in a crowded club. Okay. No thought process over who else he could hurt, who else he could harm. And I'm supposed to think badly of the copper for sure. I mean, to be fair, the copper didn't know all of this. So it's not like he did it knowing all of this. But to me, looking at it from, you know, sort of a broader perspective, I think, well, yeah, if someone has got the the capability to do this, absolutely they should be fucking shot. 100% they should be fucking shot because they clearly have got no consideration or concern for broader public safety in the pursuit of their gangsterism, you know? His kid, dude, he saw the single flash of black flesh and was like, I'm doing it, I'm pulling the trigger. But that's post hoc. No, I understand. Oh my God, dude. I understand it's post hoc, okay? You're a fucking moron, bro. On both counts, it works. At the moment of the shot, he makes the correct decision because the guy's trying to drive away, you know, who knows fucking where. Correct decision. Post hoc is also correct too because we're not dealing with some fucking scared woman who's trying to drive away from a fucking officer, okay? We're talking about a hardened fucking gangster who has got a, you know, situation of behavior where they're engaging in harm to the broader society because they're shooting a fucking gun in a club. God, some people make every fucking effort they can to defend fucking black sludge, black gangster sludge like fucking Chris Cabba, who totally fucking deserved to die, you know, on 2 counts. 1, for engaging in trying to drive away in the first place. And 2, being a total scumfuck gangster that was shooting a gun in a fucking club, bro. He was literally shooting a gun in a club with other people around. And you're arguing a toss about him getting shot. It's so fucking... Oh my God, dude. It makes me fucking sick, dude. It makes me sick. Good. The police officer took out the fucking trash, bro. This person is total scum. And somehow people are like, oh, well, you know, I need to see the body cam. Oh, you're doing post-hoc rationalization. On both fronts. On both fronts, it fucking works, dude. On both fronts, the correct decision are made. You can look at the moment the shot was taken, or you can look at the broader picture of who this person was. And on both fronts, correct fucking outcome.
Jewel tried to escape. 3 other members of the South London gang to which Mr. Cabba was a member were subsequently jailed for the attack. Neither his gang history nor previous time in jail for possession of an imitation firearm were revealed to the jury, deciding whether an armed officer had murdered him.
That is the correct decision, though, to be fair, because the police officer didn't know that when the car was stopped. So that's actually reasonable that they don't include that in the trial. I don't have a problem with that. It's more so the fact that there was these revelations made and these people have gone on this march, you know, pushing this idea this guy was some angel who was just unarmed, innocently shot by the police, which was obviously bollocks. And yet people don't correct the record. It's like that young lad that got shot in Chop in Seattle, you know. people pushing the idea that it was a fascist. It turns out some black teenager that was there and the days before, was giving this speech about, you know, George Floyd and feeling emboldened by that. And he gets shot by some lefties and there's not a fucking update to the record. It's like, it's criminal. It's criminal to me that people can get away with having this, you know, influential thing happen that influences people, and then there's not some sort of obligation to correct the record.
A senior judge had ruled it had no bearing on the wider issues of the case. This police body worn footage...
So bear in mind, the Chris Cabba is in this car. So he's in this car. This is what he's doing.
It had no bearing on the wider issues of the case. This police body-worn footage was among the evidence presented to the jury.
Oh, police! Show me your hand!
It included the moments just before Chris Cabba was shot.
Some people are saying he's a political prisoner.
Former police marksman Tony Long was cleared of the murder of a suspect he shot in 2005. He says the jury in Mr. Cabba's case should have been given more context about his life.
The jury had no real understanding of why it was that Chris Cabba was as desperate to get out of that roadblock as he was. And I think if they knew something about his previous history, then that would tell to his mindset.
Oh, actually, that is a good point. Actually, wait, that is a good point. I think I might actually be wrong. Because the thing is, the reason Chris Cabba is trying to get away is because he's a criminal and he knows that he's caught. And that mindset speaks to the aggressiveness of his actions, right? And then it informs, okay, that's interesting, actually. Yeah, there probably should have been something. I don't know what the best thing to do there is, but you know, as a blank slate, it changes it versus understanding that he is a hardened criminal trying to get away from a legitimate, justified police stop. Yeah, I don't know what the best thing to do there is.
Last night, outside the court where firearms officer Martin Blake was cleared of murder, a vigil.
Oh, dude, the Mark Duggan thing. Yes, the Mark Duggan riots. Another criminal, by the way. Another fucking criminal. But that is actually a crazy case. Where basically, I mean, again, Mark Duggan, totally correct decision to shoot the guy. But what happened was, this Mark Duggan guy picked up a gun and he had it in his sock, right? And the armed police stopped his taxi that he was in. And basically Mark Duggan knew that he'd been caught. So he got out of the taxi and he went to throw his firearm into a bush so that he could try and claim that he didn't have it on him or some stupid shit, right? But he tried to throw the firearm into the bush. And it's a crazy situation. The moment that he was doing it, as throwing the firearm, it looked like he was brandishing it to shoot the police officer. Because obviously, if you go to throw something, I mean, I don't know how he did it exactly, but you can see in a split-second decision-making moment, someone trying to throw something, particularly like a gun in a sock, could look like they're trying to like brandish it. So he goes to throw the firearm. It sounds made up. But this has all been investigated, looked into, assessed. This is what happened based on all available accounting and information, okay? But it sounds like something the cops made up to justify him getting shot to bits. But it's not. This is what happened. So he goes to throw the firearm, and the police officer, in the moment, sees him going to throw the firearm, and it looks like he's putting up the gun to shoot it, but he is actually throwing it, right? So he throws the gun, and the moment the gun leaves his hand and goes on like an arc like this, more or less the second it happens, the police officer decides to fucking shoot the person, right? And so the gun flies off into a bush, okay? But the police officer's already made the decision to fire, so shoots the gun and kills this fucking Mark Duggan guy. And there were some claims of funny business because they said the police apparently had maybe planted it, but they investigated that. It turned out that apparently wasn't true. But there was some weird fuckery where the police officer claimed they'd been shot at, and there was a bullet found lodged in the radio of one of the police officers, and apparently that was a bullet from the police officer that fired a shot. Bit complex, bit weird. But in any case, another situation where, you know, you can present it that he was unarmed because he didn't have the gun on him. But from the police officer's perspective, it looked like you had this suspect that you were stopping as knowing having a firearm. And it looked like he was going to point his gun at you or something, but he was actually trying to throw it away. So that was another thing that caused a massive ruckus. And yeah, it caused crazy riots. It was like days of riots in like places in London. Yeah, that was mental.
Took place, attended by members of Chris Cabba's family.
Just a few hours after the jury came back with that verdict, the supporters here say Chris Cabba and his family have been served injustice.
We think today has been a massive miscarriage of justice. And I think it's important that we show up to make it clear that this is unjust and that something needs to change.
We have a verdict that has come like this, and you know, this country loves to prioritize like gestures and symbolic things to like acknowledge black people, but this is our opportunity, but we failed once again.
Further protests are planned for this.
By the way, right? Legal process takes its course. I mean, really, he should never have been prosecuted for murder in the first place, but nonetheless, trial takes its course, found not guilty, and they're saying it's a miscarriage of justice. I mean, it's you know, it's outrageous, dude. It's fucking outrageous. And this is with the further context and knowledge that, yes, this guy was a fucking despicable, thoughtless, you know, total scum gangster as well.
Weekend, as Mr. Cabba's family have stressed, they wish them to remain peaceful.
Well, as you can see, Julian joins us in the studio now. Can you explain, Julian, if you can, a little bit more about why these details have only come out now?
Also, hi Dan, all those details about Chris Cabba's violent past, they were kept from the jury during the trial. The judge had said, you know, quite simply, they just weren't relevant to the case that they were looking at. The case was about whether the firearms officer, Martin Blake, had acted appropriately. And also, it should be said, Mr. Blake didn't know the identity of the person.
Also, bear in mind with this as well, that dude, it's actually incredible and amazing. Okay? It's actually incredible that this went the way it did. Because the deck, I mean, I don't want to say it as if it was a conspiracy, but like the deck was stacked against the police officer in this situation, right? So the jury had no idea that this guy was some fucking gangster on the basis the police officer didn't know. But then they could not intuit further from that the reason he was trying to escape is because he'd committed a crime. And his mindset was, I need to get away from the police because I've done something wrong. Not, I'm scared because there's a guy pointing a gun at me and I don't know why.
Car at that moment as well, so in that sense it sort of wasn't relevant. A group of journalists and lawyers, they argued in court for these details to be made public in the name of open justice. That was granted this morning, and a senior police officer has backed the move in the last few hours. Dan, this is the Met Police Deputy Assistant Commissioner Stuart Cundy. He says the public release of these details is actually a good thing, these details about Chris Cabba's gang links. He thinks it will reduce the chance of disorder breaking out now that people have greater context about the person involved.
Oh man, a black gangster's been shot. We need to be careful how we deal with it, otherwise there's going to be riots. Oh my god, dude.
Let's bring in our home editor, Jason Farrell. Really interesting listening to him there, you know, talking about how long this has taken.
So, also, the other thing to note with this too is Mark Rowley is now recorrecting for the BLM shit. He's saying all about the scrutiny stuff. This is like this is like an overcorrection to the overcorrection. So you've obviously had this pendulum swing towards, you know, BLM, Black Lives Matter, racism, we need to be concerned about this in the police, etc., etc. To, okay, we've maybe gone a bit too far with that to an absurdity that this copper is receiving all this scrutiny because he killed a black guy. And it is, you know, influenced by the political dynamic of the people complaining about it, if you see what I mean, right? Like, obviously, these calls and these marches do have an impact and do make people, like, of authority think, oh, maybe we do need to review this and take a look at this and see what's going on. So now it's like an correction to the overcorrection.
It's taken 4 years to get to this point. The stress on the officer and his family, and also on Chris Cabba's family, for this to be resolved, saying that this is something that should have been resolved in weeks, and calling for real wholesale change of the review of the way that police are held accountable for their actions whilst on duty.
Yeah, let me start with a plug, actually. We just made a documentary with the firearms unit, MO19. I've spent time with these police officers. I've also been speaking extensively with the campaigners and the activists around the Cabba family. So I see it from both sides. And all of them would agree on one thing.
Well, yeah, the story's old, but this dropping of the disciplinary case is recent.
And that is, this process takes too long. As you just heard, really laid out there by the Commissioner. I mean, 4 years for this to get to this point. That officer has not been able to work. The family's been left in limbo as well. I've seen cases that have lasted for 10 years. And it was actually a 10-year case, the case of W80, who shot a man in a vehicle, that led to the initial change around misconduct hearings. So what a group of Supreme Court judges decided was that misconduct hearings should have a different level of accountability to a criminal case. So, for example, if there was a use of force, normally your defence would be, in a criminal case, you'd say, I had an honestly held belief that there was a threat to life. And you could use that defence, I could use that defence, police officers use it as well. They're much more likely to be in a situation where they have to use force to protect. So they are more likely to end up in these scenarios. But in a misconduct hearing, that use of force has an extra level of proof. It has to be reasonable. And it's just that slight nuance and slight additional level of proof that they have to produce. Now, the families say, of course, it should be reasonable. And the Supreme Court judges decided reasonableness was important because how else would the police learn the reasonableness of mistakes? But what the Home Office have come out and said, no, actually, do you know what? In high-pressure situations, sometimes it's not fair to judge the actions of a police officer around that because they could have made a mistake, but even so, they made that mistake with the knowledge that they had in that moment under extreme pressure. So we've got to this stage now where the misconduct hearings there's a lower level of proof. It's going to cause real anxiety for the family. They're going to be really upset about this. They will.
I just really. The thing is, police officers in the UK are primed to not use force, like, you know, too excessive a force, right? A whole principle and standards around policing are around de-escalation because we operate very differently. We're not like the police in the UK aren't as militarized. There's not the kind of combative dynamic between the police and the population. I don't think this is a problem. And even, you know, firearms officers barely ever fire their fucking weapon. And when they do, it is pretty much unquestionably the correct decision because it is the only option available. If you want to see the mentality of how UK cops operate, you just need to take a look at that Manchester airport situation where there were some Muslims that were fighting and the coppers didn't shoot them. The guy tried to maintain control of the suspect by kicking him in the fucking head, right? Or the other situation with the guy that had a knife where they arrested him and they got kicked in the head and the Green politician, Jack Palance, complained about it, you know. That is the mentality of the British police. If we can kick someone in the head and get them to comply, that's better than pulling out our gun. But in the US, it's very different. It's shoot first, ask questions later. Literally empty a mag dump someone. Literally just fucking mag dump someone in a heartbeat and worry about the fucking details later.
And they'll no doubt say that this is the wrong decision and that NX121 should have faced this misconduct hearing. But he has already faced a criminal trial and he has been cleared of murder. And the police will say he's been through enough. He should be allowed to get back to his job.
And in terms of the review, Home Office review, he said this is long overdue and very welcome. We need to bring some common sense to the accountability of police officers. When are we going to get some kind of clarity on that, do we think?
Well, I think this is obviously, let's just bring it back to this case for a moment. This is specific to the shooting of Chris Cabba. It happened in September 2022, and he was shot by NX121 as he was surrounded by vehicles. But what you heard there from the Commissioner was very much saying that a much broader assessment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, dude, it is, obviously. Oh, also, I didn't actually. Vosh apparently has moved to Europe. I understand. Is that right? He's moving away from America to Europe. He's getting out of the States. He's got a partner in Europe or something. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that clip doing the rounds. Yeah, apparently Vosh is moving out of the US. People are saying it's because America's fascist. Netherlands, that's it. But I think it's because he's got a partner in the Netherlands. But in any case, obviously Vosh got a lot of shit for his mental illness worker perspective, which is obviously retarded, and especially in the context of America where everyone's got a fucking gun. But I do think there is this problem that is difficult to solve, where you've got someone who is like a violent threat because they're having a mental episode. And the problem is they're having a mental episode and they're a threat and they're a danger, right? Okay, so that's obviously true. But then they're not a threat in terms of they're fundamentally a bad person. They're just having like a crazy moment with a knife or something like that. And you think, well, how do you deal with that in the best way? And it seems like, like there's footage in the UK that people laugh at of like coppers with their batons out, and there's like 12 of them, and they're fighting like one guy with a knife and trying to like get him under arrest. And that seems like too much in one direction. But then in America, some guy's having a mental episode and got a knife and he gets shot. There's one I always remember, and it's like a guy and he's just sitting there. And he's obviously having some sort of fucking episode. And the coppers just fucking shoot him. They just shoot him to bits. You're like, what the fuck, man? I think it looked like he was reaching or something like that. So some jittery cop just shot him to pieces. That feels like too wrong in the other direction,
Of lots of other, not just involving firearms officers, but for example, police vehicles in a chase. So he's essentially saying, or someone investigating a paedophile and getting into trouble if the paedophile takes their own life. All of those things are other aspects that the police have been concerned about for some time around the misconduct.
Yeah, dude, the problem with the clipboard thing is just you can see it happening, can't you? Some person with a lanyard. Hello there. You seem to be having some problems. Are you okay? And this fucking schizoid just gets a knife and jabs it in there. And then it becomes, well, just send a police officer to guard them. And it's like, well, then the police are still involved, aren't they? And you're replicating the same problem. But, it is, I do think it is true. I do agree that American police are expected to deal with so fucking much, man. Basically, all this shit gets offloaded onto their plate. And there does need to be some sort of shift or change. But it's that issue of how do you do that without, creating more risk to everyone else. That's the issue, really.
Under review, the Home Office are looking at whether there needs to be changes around that. This is the most significant one, though, because this is really about life or death decisions made by police officers in split seconds.
While you've been talking, we've had a statement, as probably would you expect, from the Justice for Chris Kaba campaign. They say they're appalled by the IOPC's decision to abandon disciplinary proceedings. It's a devastating blow, not just to Chris Kaba's family, but to everyone who cares about living in a society where the police are not above the law. The extraordinary treatment of the police officer throughout this case sends a dangerous message that when police kill, the system will bend over backwards to protect police officers rather than hold them accountable and deliver justice. The IOPC had a choice today. It chose not to do the right thing. The decision is deeply damaging to public confidence in its independence and willingness to hold police officers to account. They say they will continue to fight for a kind of society that we want to live in.
Bro, is it not enough that he's gone through a criminal case? I mean, is it actually not? It's been years, bro. It's been fucking years. I know that people don't want to be sympathetic towards the police, but fucking hell, dude. Come on, bro. Holy shit, man.
I mean, this is a view that obviously Mark Rowley would contest.
Yes. And I think the officers that I've spent time with echo this point, that they work in very high pressure situations, that when they attend a job and they're armed with a weapon, they do have to make these split-second decisions. And the officers that I spoke to were saying, I could go to prison for the highest offence in the land for simply doing my job. And there was a situation where a lot of police officers were saying, well, I'm not going to carry guns anymore, when Martin Blake was first charged with murder.
I mean, the thing is, I think that, yeah, there's obviously cases where you could see a copper killing someone, right? But it's like, that would be something that's inherently obvious, more or less, right? And with, you know, in this circumstance, it's just way too much to say that was murder. Even if you disagree with the shooting and think it was the wrong decision. You know, that copper is totally justified in perceiving threat in that circumstance. I know people struggle with the car thing because they don't really, but dude, this fucking guy is trying to viciously drive a car away in a very dangerous fashion. That is like easy threat perception.
And I think especially when he was named, that sent another shockwave through the system, because police officers were saying, well, you know, that puts his family at risk. You know, there are people out there who might want to take revenge on Martin Blake. You know, often we're dealing with extremely dangerous criminals. If officers are named when they've shot somebody, that sends out a really poor signal to the police about how well protected they're going to be if they face the criminal justice system. So there were a lot of concerns around the Chris Cabba case and the way in which it was handled by police officers. But on the other hand, as one of the campaigners said to me, when all the officers laid down their arms, when Martin Blake was charged with murder, you know, that was before any of the evidence had come to light. So their argument was, well, shouldn't we have an accountability process? Shouldn't we see where this takes us before police officers?
The problem, okay, this is a stupid point, man. The issue was that because this was after he got charged with murder, okay? What the police officers were saying, I think legitimately so, is if I'm going to be scrutinised to this level, because bear in mind, in the UK, not all cops are armed. Cops decide. It's an optional thing. If you want to be a firearms officer, you can be a firearms officer. You can decide to do that. So why, like, it's totally reasonable that if the scrutiny is too high, you're going to be like, well, why the fuck would I do this? Why am I going to put my life on the line? You know, you're putting your life on the line in terms of putting yourself in dangerous situations. And then if you do make a decision to fire a shot, you're held to this obscenely ridiculous standard. You're tried by the court of public opinion instantly. A bunch of fucking blacks are marching in the street saying you're a fucking murderer. And then also you're going to be criminally judged. It's too much. It's just too much pressure and too much scrutiny. So it makes sense to me that, yeah, you would be like, well, fuck it, I'm not going to do it.
Just decide whether or not they should put down their arms. You know, you have to say it's quite compelling arguments on both sides. Yeah. And we must have an accountability system where the police do learn from their mistakes and police officers are held accountable when they make bad decisions. But they also need to have the confidence to go out there and do their job. It's a very, very nuanced and difficult
it's gonna be a really interesting
situation to find the balance right on.
Yeah, Jason,
I do agree with that. It is difficult to find the balance. Okay, guys. From one dead black to another. Okay, let's chill out a bit with the racism today. Let's relax a little bit. I'm going to let someone else do the talking on the racism. Remember this guy? Remember this fucking guy?
Hello again. I've had quite a bit to say about Professor Jason ARDAY, but I will mention now that he has resigned from his position at Cambridge. I think the pressure, the revelations have been coming a little bit too thick and fast for him.
So the big news, the guy covered yesterday that you might have heard about, Jason ARDAY, the DEI darling of Cambridge, has resigned. It's over. As suspected, the pressure, and Cambridge started an investigation, which I, predicted was going to happen because of the mounting pressure. And then the guy's resigned. Whereas, is it resigned or is it, listen, Jason, okay, you're fucking raped, buddy. It's time to go.
And of course, his autobiography is due out at the beginning of next week, which is likely to lead to even more publicity. He's not actually the worst fraud that there's been in academia. I'm thinking now of Professor Cyril Burt. I think I'll write a little bit about him tomorrow. I'm afraid that how can I put?
Dude, also, dude, the thing is, his videos are a bit slow, but then you look at the titles and you're like, fucking hell, man. Why are so many useless, dangerous, or crooked black people giving him poor job?
Hello again.
It's too much, man. It's too much.
Glancing at the news seems to show many people of African or Caribbean ancestry in this country who are appointed to high-powered jobs which they're quite incapable of doing effectively, safely, or honestly. Is this because black people are more likely to be dishonest, hopeless, or sleazy?
Dude, honestly, man, it does. I think that the Chris Cabba stuff, it's the same thing again, where you've had all these lefties that are defending him, and you think, well, surely you're going to come out and say, I was wrong about that. I fucked up. I made a mistake. I misunderstood or whatever. But no, they just ignore it and move on to the next thing. You defended a fraud. You defended a total grifting fraud on racial lines. Does it not make people question, their sort of adherence to identity politics and their obsession with identity politics? That actually, there are black people that will take the piss and take advantage. It's very reminiscent of, the AIDS guy in was it Sweden, I think. But there was a black guy from Africa that was a total fucking fraud that had AIDS, and he pretended to be some lefty and gave a bunch of white women AIDS. Yes, I'm covering Perez Hilton later. Don't worry, guys. This is just a sort of pared back, chill politics stream, because I need to stream, go away for a few hours, and then I'll come back and I'll cover the Perez Hilton stuff. I still don't know how I'm going to do it. I still don't know how I'm going to cover it effectively because it's totally fucking TOS, but I'll figure it out. Simon Mole. Yes, the Simon Mole case. Oh, dude, that's a great story, man. Classic story. We need to find a little video about it. Oh my god, dude, DuckDuckGo fucking sucks, man. On this fucking LibreWolf browser. The second result is the Polish Wikipedia entry. Holy fuck. It's not worth all the privacy if that's the fucking level of search that I'm dealing with.
Of course not. It is all the fault, as is the case with so many of the less desirable things we see in modern Britain, of liberals, left-wingers and anti-racists. To understand what's going on, you need to understand how the scene has changed in recent years when it comes to proving that your company or public body is not being racist in its employment practices. Until 2020, the year that George Floyd died and Black Lives Matter became a big thing, it was enough for somebody running a hospital or bank to boast that 2% of the population were black.
Let's go! He's going to talk about Floydism! My based racist king.
And yet 4% of their employees were black. See, no racial prejudice in our employment practices. We're employing them at twice the rate that they are in the population. Of course, looking a little closer revealed that all the black people were actually cleaners, security guards, or very junior clerks or nurses. The senior positions were all held by white people.
Oh, no,
so it was that organisations began making specific promises about how many black people they would be appointing to their top positions. That would prove that they were not racist. Universities and health trusts, police forces, banks and supermarket chains all began playing this game. In Britain, Lloyds Bank announced in 2020 that
the thing is, it's a bit more complex than he's letting on. Obviously, he's giving a very juicy racial narrative, or like racist narrative, I should say. Because the idea is they were junior clerks because that's where they deserve to be. But I think that history is a bit more complex than that. And there has been this kind of, you know, issue of access to premium roles and things like that. So I think it's a bit more complex than just, well, the blacks are just nurses and that's all they can be. Obviously, there's nothing to stop a black person getting into a position of power in the modern era. But the issue is that I think society's taken this kind of shortcut in that rather than open things up and create a meritorious dynamic where people are able to succeed, you know, regardless of race, which eventually you'll get there. If you have the progress we've seen in society over the past 50 years, if that just continues on organically, you will naturally end up with black people in these positions of power as they enter higher education at higher rates and so on and so forth. But there's been this kind of shortcut attempted, and basically Floydism led to people wanting to kind of pour gasoline on it to try and make it happen more fucking quickly. So you end up with, you know, like diversity quotas and things like that, which are not always conducive to just getting the best person necessarily, you know? And there's been controversies where certain jobs have been for certain races, certain positions. So I don't know, man. It's. I don't fully agree with what this guy said because he's like some old racist coot. But I see somewhat the spirit of where he's coming from, and I'm like, I kind of see it, yes. But he probably is of the position that blacks can't do anything. I don't agree with that. I think black people can obviously thrive like anyone else. But we've tried to take these shortcuts, which have obviously set things back a bit.
They were worried about the lack of diversity in their senior management. It had been noticed that only 0.6% of senior management were black, whereas 3% of the people in the British population were black. There was obviously a clear and pressing need for some racial balancing. The bank said that by 2024 they intended to ensure that 3% of their senior management would be black.
See, why? I mean, I'm assuming he's telling the truth about this, but like, why is that the criteria? Why is, this is related, I think, to he's bouncing off of the ARDAY situation. But why is the criteria about the percentage? Or no, it's not even that. It's like, yes, there should obviously be a representation of senior management of this. But it's like, by putting in place this idea, we need to make this happen by this time, that creates the mentality of shortcuts and getting there quickly, rather than allowing history to run its course, to let the root of the opening up of race-based stuff happen over time. It's, oh shit, Floyd got killed. We need to pack the people with blacks now. Go, go, go. And you end up with, that's exactly how you end up with an ARDAY. It's exactly how you end up with an ARDAY, is like that Cambridge professor was saying. She was like, pleased as punch just to have a black guy there. And he's a total fraud who's getting in on the basis of his skin colour rather than the quality of his work. And then you end up with it blowing up in your face and there being this massive controversy about it.
There was no suggestion, of course, that capable black employees had been held back in their promotion, nor that the company was discriminating against black job applicants. Neither did racial prejudice appear to be operating to prevent minorities becoming part of the senior management. 7.3% of senior management were either black or minority ethnic, chiefly of Indian origin. There is only one way that the number of black people in senior management could be increased fivefold at Lloyds Bank, and that was by promoting black staff in preference to those of other ethnicities who might be better qualified for the job. After all, if those black people were already able enough to join the senior management, then they would presumably have been promoted before.
Well, I mean, again, there's a bit of nuance here. Like, there was that study. Remember that study they did? There was a thing they did where they had like the CV test, and they had the same CV, but one was like John Smith, and the other one was, you know, Kwame Shikati or some black name. And they basically found that all these white names were getting like, yeah. And then a black name, and they say, oh, Shawati? Ah, fuck that. They just fucking tossed it. So I think there has been this bias that's existed. Like that needs to be accounted for somehow. But I don't think the answer is to set targets, you know?
So it's a reasonable guess that they were not capable. The other way to fill the quota would be to advertise externally and then rig the selection process against people of Indian or Chinese heritage and give preference to those applicants whose families came originally from Africa.
Ugh.
Put bluntly, actions of this sort, whatever the terminology used to describe them, entail racial prejudice. It meant that black people would have to be recruited and then promoted in double quick time to various senior positions, and if they were found to be hopelessly unsuitable, then this must be covered up and their promotion go ahead anyway. There could hardly be a greater recipe for disaster. You will note that this has nothing at all to do with black people themselves, and I am saying nothing about their intelligence, capability, or disposition. The consequences we have seen would almost certainly have been exactly the same if these policies had been aimed at Red Indians or Eskimos, rather than black people of African or Caribbean heritage. Let me ask viewers a question. Do they seriously think that David Lammy was appointed Foreign Secretary because of his sharp mind, or simply because Keir Starmer was very anxious to have a black man installed in one of the great offices of state?
Oh, dude, I gotta say, man, I do actually do. I'm inclined to agree. I must say. You know, obviously, Andy Burnham's taken a slightly different tact and has made a black the energy secretary. But, I mean, David Lammy, I was a bit like, really? Like, that guy's a bit of a fucking joker, isn't he? He's known for all his fucking gaffes and stupid shit that he said. Oh, Lammy. Oh, dear. Yeah, I don't think Lammy was particularly capable of doing the job. I don't think he's a particularly good politician.
Sadly, you're raped.
Electric Goose, stay with the kicks, thank you.
I could cite many other instances of the ill effect of this kind of policy.
Well, funnily enough, Kwasi Kwarteng, I honestly don't, as much as it's funny to joke about it, I don't think that, like, I do think Kwasi Kwarteng is like a knowledgeable economic guy. I just think the problem was his instruction was like ridiculous and uncosted tax cuts for certain people and stuff. It was stupid. But I don't think his problem is that it was black. I think his problem is he was too like libertarian in his mentality, you know? Yeah, Diane Abbott's also a gaff-prone moron. Yeah, there's just, I mean, you know. I do think Kemi is good, actually. As much as I'm a Labour guy, I think Kemi's actually quite a good, you know, she's quite a capable politician. Don't agree with her on a lot of shit, obviously. But I think she's, you know, she's not like a sort of Lammy character where you're like, oh my God, she's not some gaff-prone retard, you know?
Elevating black people to the highest levels simply because they are black. Sharon White being put in charge of the John Lewis stores brings to mind. And of course, more recently, Jason ARDAY was appointed purely to boost the number of senior black staff at the University of Cambridge. In the National Health Service, his mad desire to give black people senior positions has led to some very unfortunate situations, as it has in the police.
What's he
As I say,
give
such
some
a
examples,
scheme
bro?
to employ and promote people according to the colour of their skin, rather than their
There's too many
talent,
blacks in the
would have been
NHS now.
disastrous, whichever minority was fixed upon. It tells us nothing about black people and everything about white liberals.
By the way, guys, this is going to be my stream in years to come when I fully retired. This is going to be me. I'll go live once in a while just to be really fucking racist like this guy. That's the plan. Okay, so getting on to the Jason ARDAY stuff. Jason ARDAY, well, let's play this little video from a few days ago. Ooh, a little defense. Oh, what's this? A little defense video from July 28th. Oh, no.
You might have not heard who Jason ARDAY is. Jason is the youngest black professor in Cambridge's history. And to the surprise of literally no one, from the start, newspapers like The Telegraph and The Times have been calling him a diversity poster boy and just overall annoying him. But now they're taking it a step further.
And what? And overall annoying him. Yeah, guess what? If someone's a total hack fraud, I think they should be annoyed. Oh, dude. I've heard little bits and pieces about this Good Law Project, man, but I can tell already it's a total hive of libtard fucking absurdity. You can just tell, bro. That, bear in mind, this is only a few days ago. Oh, sorry, like a week ago. This is when you're literally at the height of things getting exposed about this guy.
But now they're taking it a step further and they're trying to smear him with accusations of plagiarism, basically saying his work isn't his own and trying to discredit him. And it's really interesting because it doesn't matter that academic journals, universities, everybody that has looked into these claims has found no evidence of plagiarism whatsoever.
I gotta be honest with you, right? I don't need some institution to look. I can look at it myself and I can go, oh yeah, you plagiarized that shit. As you'll see Michael Tracy points out in a response. What do you mean? Clearly there's some issue with the investigation process because it's fucking obvious he plagiarized.
Papers do not care. And we have to talk about it. A baseless smear campaign against a distinguished black academic isn't just a personal attack. It's an attempt to shut down a black person who has a platform, and they keep doing this again and again. Again, just with Missing, just with Jason. And it's gotten to a point...
Who is that guy? Who is this guy here?
To a point where we have to say, we're not going to let them. We have to do something about this. But we know that these newspapers will only listen to public pressure, and we need to send them a message loud and clear. If you want to join us, comment Jason. We'll send you a link to add your name to our open letter to stand in solidarity with Jason and to help us tell right-wing newspapers that, again, they can't say and do whatever they want. Not on our watch. You might have not...
Oh dear. Explain how this is a smear and it's just the plagiarism. Plain as day. Oh. Go on, Michael Tracy. Let's go. Let's fucking go. We love Michael Tracy. Yeah. Oh, this guy as well, Benjamin Ryan. This guy's another good journo. He's covered a lot of the trans kid stuff. And he's been going in on this as well. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Anyway. Yes, following up from the video we watched yesterday. He has resigned. He is obviously resigned. Obvious conclusion, obvious outcome. The pressure was too high. Cambridge opened an investigation. And he's now resigned. What is this as well? Jason ARDAY resigns after Telegraph reveals his false book claims. Oh, more bullshit. Wow, a new bullshit story. Wow, what the fuck? Professor Jason ARDAY has resigned from the University of Cambridge after the Telegraph revealed he falsely claimed to have published the book. Total black Walter Mitty, man. Oh yeah, I published a book, by the way. In a letter online, Professor ARDAY said he was resigning with immediate effect from the position at university and also Jesus College, citing unrelenting level of public scrutiny. This guy is a fraud, bro. You deserve to be scrutinized, buddy. Dude, this guy is actually fucking disgusting to me. He came into Cambridge on a wave of positive attention and support, getting interviews in the press where he got fawning fucking response. And now the fucking worm has turned and people are seeing through it. He doesn't like it. Fuck you, dude. Oh my God, it boils my fucking piss, man. That this guy has got the audacity to sit there and complain about scrutiny when he was getting sucked off by Channel 4 News and all sorts of fucking people. The statement came hours after the university... Oh, dude! So notice the final domino to topple was the fact that Cambridge announced an investigation into him and then he decides to resign. So he was wholly reliant on Cambridge University keeping up the charade. What? Just totally reliant on this. And now they've said, actually, we do think there's a thing here and we're not going to protect you anymore. It's fucking over. Professor ARDAY, who was a professor of sociology of education, has also been the subject of plagiarism claims after the Telegraph reported that he had been accused of copying parts of his PhD thesis from another student. Dude, I didn't see this. Earlier on Wednesday, the Telegraph also revealed that Professor ARDAY had repeatedly claimed he was the author of a book called Being Young, Black and Male, Challenging the Dominant Discourse. The book was listed in his biography description in published essays, as well as promotional material for speaking events, and was attributed to Palgrave Macmillan Publishing House. In reality, it was never published. Oh, what? So what, did he write a book and it just didn't get published for some reason? Presumably because it was shit, and he just claimed it got published. My assumption is he did write a book and then it didn't get published. Because how could you... Why would you lie about writing a book? I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know how that came to be. The revelation raised questions over his employment at the University of Cambridge. To apply for a professorship at Cambridge, applicants need to submit an extensive portfolio of work, which includes a complete bibliography of essays, journals, and book chapters. Jesus College, where Professor ARDAY is a fellow, had also announced it was investigating him. Oh, the world, dude! The walls were closing in. I think there were Cambridge staffers that were pushing for the investigation. Internal pressure couldn't be staved. Okay, bro. Great and unfortunate things. We see things they'll never see. Love, hope, and neurodiversity. Dismantling race in higher education. Oh! Oh, that's a tough... Racism, whiteness, and decolonizing the academy. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's... Oh no. That's a rough title now, isn't it? That's a rough title now. Ooh. Call Britannia a multi-ethnic Britain. Okay. Oh, also... Oh, fuck, I'll throw these in now before I finish reading this. I saw this clip, dude. I was wondering what sort of lessons you were getting from this guy, and the good news is now we've got an answer.
So I'm going to tell you something, and obviously, like, keep this between us, right? But I love Home and Away and Neighbours, like a lot, right? A lot. And the worst thing that happened to me with Home and Away and Neighbours was becoming a sociologist. Because when I started watching Home and Away and Neighbours, before I'd just watch it, and it was escapism. For 1 hour, I was in Australia on 7 Network. Then you become a sociologist and you start looking at things through a different lens. So part of it is like you think, okay, well, Australia has an indigenous population, First Islanders. How come none of them are present in this utopia that's Summer Bay? Like then you have kind of Ramsey.
Wow! You're telling me there's no abos in Summer Bay and it's a utopia? Wow! Wait a second, dude. Hang on a minute. I think you need to rethink what you're saying here, Jason. That's how you're presenting it. Once we have a complete and total genocide on the Abo population, Australia will know paradise. Oh, fucking hell, man.
Street and you think, oh my God, there's no people. You start looking at it really, really differently. And you kind of think lots of this have different kind of people that are in it, but it's not reflected in these spaces. So I'm going to tell you.
Sorry, what? I actually don't know what the setting is of Home and Away. Is it conducive to having a bunch of abos pop up randomly? I don't fucking know, dude. Dude, you have the fight. You know, they got the opening montage where you get the characters waving and stuff, and you know, you get the sort of montage of characters. You could just have some, I don't know what an abo name is. You could just have a fucking abo taking a big whiff of fucking petrol out of the can and turn it around. Is that kind of what we're thinking? Is that the angle that we're going with? Bruce. What did Bruce? Dude, I don't know. What is... Okay. Home and Away. Let's look at, like, the opening. Home and Away opening titles. Whoa. Whoa, what the fuck? White Pride! White Pride! Home and Away! White Pride! It's like an advert for a fucking Aboriginal genocide. There's literally no fucking Aboriginals at all. It's all just like white European types. Wait! What about that guy? Look, he looks a bit like Aboriginal, doesn't he? He's like mixed or something. I don't really know. Hey, dude. The thing is, in all seriousness, I don't know what the setting of this is, so I don't really understand. Like, is it something where you could have an Aboriginal character that isn't just a total absurd insert for diversity purposes? I don't really know Home and Away that well. Start with season 1. Anyway, that's the kind of lesson that you're getting. There's not enough abos at Home and Away, dude. Top tier Cambridge education. I mean, to be fair, that's obviously like a throwaway comment. So I don't know what the rest of his course is like. But I get the feeling that you're not getting your money's worth. I gotta say, you're not getting your fucking money's worth. Wait, who's this guy?
There are 2 things you need to know about Cambridge professor Jason ARDAY. Professor Jason ARDAY was initially targeted because he's black. They go around targeting all senior black academics in the US and the UK.
They do seem to have quite a good hit rate. You got Claudine Gay, you got this guy. I don't know about the others they're mentioning. I've not looked into any of that. But, it's a bit troubling that they do seem to be getting some good hits on this.
On this occasion...
Also, by the way, there are, the idea that they're just targeting because they're black. Yes, obviously, rightoids are fucking trying to find black academics to push the, anti-DEI narrative. But there are white academics that also get exposed for being plagiarists. And obviously, that gets reported on without, we wouldn't even necessarily get wind of it, because, well, unless you follow academic information. But it's the kind of thing that you'd read about in, like, that Times Higher Education that were going to run a report on ARDAY but didn't because they were scared of the lawsuit. That's the kind of places you'd see things like that. That's like high-tier academic news. So it's not as if it's only blacks that get caught out by this. There's tons of white people that get exposed for plagiarism. But obviously, what is the thing? Dog bites man isn't a story. Man bites dog is a story. And yeah, I think that there is. I mean, I agree. I don't obviously agree with we need to look into every black academic and check their work. But I do think that you're going to see over the years that there has been a broadening of acceptance criteria and standards that will lead to more ARDAYs that, probably need to be considered and accounted for,
There was so much dirt that he did have some very serious, uncomfortable questions to answer. He said the toll on him and his family was simply too much. But by quitting, before the new investigation has ended, he has only given fuel to the fire of these crazy people.
Dude, this guy's he's quit because he's guilty, you fuck. Oh my God, dude. Why do you think he's quit? He's quit because he knows that if Cambridge has got his back on his bollocks, it doesn't fucking matter, right? But now Cambridge have started an investigation. He knows it's the fucking jig is up. It's over. He can't fucking withstand that scrutiny too. As much as you can say that it's the right-wing press coming for you, you're fucking defended. But if Cambridge eventually fold to the pressure, you're fucked, aren't you? Because they're going to find all of this and they're going to have no choice. And they're going to be scrutinised to fuck on their decision-making on this. And now it's all out there and it can't be tied up to, oh, it's a racist saying it. It's fucking clear-cut, dude.
I would say, now their campaign has worked on you, they'll try it on other people, but they've been doing it to other people all this time and found dirt on very few senior black academics. There are...
Yeah, dude. Most right-wing people distrust academia in general. They just focus on black people because it makes a bunch of left-wing people jump on the sword to protect the holy black guy. It's such a retarded dynamic. And it works. It works a fucking treat, bro. These idiots jump on the sword to defend a fraud. And then you go, well, you were fucking wrong about that. Why not just have more scrutiny or be open to the idea that, crazy take, I know, but maybe a right-winger might be correct about something and you don't need to immediately claim that they're wrong just because they're a fucking rightoid. You know, like, yeah, sometimes rightoids say things that are true, even if you disagree with them politically. Dude, that home and away clip's going fucking crazy. Dude, that's like, what is this, bro?
So I just turned 18 when I learned to read and write. And I was part of a program actually.
Here's some of my birthday money. Streaming
Hey!
BTW.
Thank you, Samsung Galaxy Z Z487. Thank you for the 420. Oh, actually, that makes me think the fucking Google event is coming up soon. I need to get a new phone. My phone, the battery, I've had it for 4 years, and the battery is not even lasting a day anymore. And it's really fucking annoying. But I did see the Samsung announce the Fold and whatnot. But I don't know, man. Those Fold phones seem kind of bad. Like they're going to break. Anyway, what's this guy saying?
And I was part of a program actually, which it doesn't really exist anymore, but it was called 7-Up at the time. And 7-Up is basically when they follow you over the duration of your life. So they follow you at kind of 7, 14, 21. And I was pulled out. So I just turned 18.
What? So he's lying about being part of that thing where they catch up with you as you get older. Bro, what? Why would you lie about that? Why would you fucking lie about that, dude? God, this guy is just a total bullshit artist, man. At every single fucking turn. I work at a Samsung repair place and the Fold 8 is super shitty and ugly looking. The Fold 8 Ultra is just the 7. Looks identical on the outside. Yeah, I prefer Pixels because you get the default Android experience. It's just bizarre that this guy just fucking constantly lies. Crazy stuff, man. We'll look at his update as well. Okay. So they've also announced an investigation. Announcing his resignation, we'll read that in a sec. We'll read that in just a sec. The accusations that Professor ARDAY has allegedly plagiarized the work of another academic male made international headlines, including in the US, after analysis of his PhD thesis showed more than 180 separate passages were identical or near identical to other students' thesis. In recent days, Professor ARDAY has put his apparent plagiarism down to autism, saying he absorbs information through mimicry. Oh, what? I'm actually an autistic minor. That's why I'm a plagiarist. Holy shit, dude. He has admitted that a claim about running 600 miles in 6 days for charity was wrong, saying it had taken 12 days. He has accepted that he did not raise 5.5 million for charity alone, as he had said in the past, but had instead been part of a syndicate of about 100 people, none of whom he could name because he had signed a non-disclosure agreement. Interesting. The universities of Glasgow and Ohio State have denied claims by Professor ARDAY that he had been a visiting professor at their institutions. Dude, everything he said is bullshit, man. Dude, I don't... Dude, if I defended someone and it turned out that they weren't what they said they were, I'd feel very, like... I'd be like, fuck, dude, I fucked that up. Do you know what I mean? I'd feel bad about it. But these people are just shameless. They'll offend a totally wretched, dishonest hack and then won't think to correct the record. You know? He's a total fraud, yeah. It's honestly staggering what a fraud this guy is. And the fact that Cambridge let him in. It is a massive, like, competency scandal, trust scandal with Cambridge. There's loads of problems with this. And all these progressives have been falling on their sword to defend him against a racist right-wing attack. When the racists, the racists are correct once again, bro. The racists are right. The racists are right. And also, and I think what's happened is he's got onto like news stations, you know, off the back of the Floydism stuff. And so people are a bit hesitant to question him because it was at that time when there was this kind of, you know, groundswell of support behind blacks because of what happened with George Floyd. And so there wasn't this scrutiny and there wasn't this questioning. Because some of this stuff should raise like that sort... You know, when you're talking to someone and they say something and it's preposterous and you're like, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense, you know? You have that innate feeling that someone is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. It's basically the ignorance of that because he's black. You know, this is very unfortunately for progressives. This is just a win for right-wing racism. Like, at the end of the day, you know, the lefties have made it a win by rather than going, fair enough, maybe you got a point about this guy, they've gone to the ends of the earth to defend him when the evidence was mounting and undeniable that this guy's a fraud. You know, literally a week ago at the height of this, you had the Good Law Project posting a video defending him, you know? So, very frustrating to see. And I think that the sooner that, you know, the progressives rid themselves of this absurd, you know, subservience to identity politics, which is still lingering, I think, from the products of Floydism, the better. Fucking sack all this shit off, bro. This fucking sucks, man. Get rid of it. You know? Mamdani didn't win because of this bollocks. He didn't have any of this fucking shit going on. And he won tremendously. And I've not followed it, but apparently there was some lefty that won, I think in Michigan or something. But I don't really know what's happened there. But I think that America are starting to get wise to the fact that this stuff is a non-starter and people don't fucking like it. So move away from it. Stop pushing this bollocks, you know, and just admit, yeah, there was a bit of hysteria after fucking George Floyd got killed, and it led to some bad decisions being made. There we go. Move on. You know? Okay. It was revealed by the Telegraph that Professor ARDAY has incorrectly claimed to be a visiting professor at the Nelson Mandela University in South Africa. Okay. On the Cambridge Faculty of Education page, he claims to be a visiting professor at the university in the city of Gurpera, formerly Port Elizabeth. However, a university spokesman said Professor ARDAY had no formal affiliation with the institution and had served as an adjunct professor on a fixed-term association that had ended in November 2025. Adjunct professors are usually part-time and hold more junior positions than visiting professors. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is the staff revolt you're talking about. Damn. Cambridge previously said Professor ARDAY was the victim of a vile campaign to undermine his credibility, but had faced a staff revolt over its refusal to re-examine his credentials. No way, dude! The people have had enough. They've got the people of Cambridge have got black fatigue. University of Cambridge bosses are facing a staff revolt over the handling of the plagiarism row surrounding one of its high-profile professors. A growing number of academics have expressed disquiet over Cambridge's refusal to re-examine the credentials. Jesus. In a first concession from Cambridge, it announced that research misconduct will be discussed at a forthcoming meeting of a committee that could make recommendations to review our academic misconduct procedures. Also, you might well have seen this in America, apparently, because this has gone global. Like, everyone's fucking talking about this story. Well, I think that there's an incentive here as well. If you go on TV and you tell a little lie and don't get challenged on it, well, maybe you go on TV again and you say another little lie, and then another little lie, and another little lie. Before you know it, you've told all these lies. And all you've done is one lie along the way, but it comes into this massive web of lies that is non-sustainable. And all it takes is a few people starting to unpick it and you're fucked. But for a long time, it seems people weren't willing to unpick it. And those that were faced police investigation, as we were talking about yesterday. A journalist that was investigating this guy was investigated by the police. There was no further action taken, but he was told by the police to stop trying to contact this guy because he was harassing him. And he was worked for the Times Higher Education, which is a credible paper, you know? What is this?
So I'm sure some of you have seen the headlines. A disgusting plagiarism smear campaign against Cambridge professor Jason ARDAY.
Oh,
but before we get into it, let me tell you exactly who this man is. Jason ARDAY didn't speak until he was 11 years old. He was diagnosed with autism at 3. He didn't...
Dude, okay. I know it's funny to laugh at this guy. I do feel... Oh, God, dude. I do feel bad for the black community, I must say. Because you've got to imagine, right? Like, this is a product of black pride, which whites aren't allowed to have, apparently. But obviously, you've got this black guy, gets into Cambridge, prestigious university, okay? And it's great for the black community. You know, it's like, wow, look at this guy. This guy's amazing. This guy's really cool and smart. And he didn't learn to read till he was 18. And he's managed to do it and blah, blah, blah. And there's probably an element of seeing, you know, yourself in that, in some sort of achievement. And then it turns out it's all a load of fucking bollocks and a lie.
Raped. Are Brit blacks this single issue? Where are the blacks going? Hey you man, why this Twinkie nigga so shiny and shite?
Thank you for the kicks, thank you. Well, I think because they see it as a person of their own colour that's, you know, massively achieved something. And then it turns out that it's a load of fucking bollocks, okay? It turns out it's a load of bullshit. And there's probably this element of wanting to defend it because you're in some way defending yourself and your own identity. So I feel bad because this is not, this person is I don't think they're like a bad guy. I think they're just struggling and coping. It's the literal definition of like coping, bro. They're literally coping with the fact that this black guy's a total fraud. And so they're just defending him because they're like, you know, trying to rationalize the fact that they've been totally misled on something which has probably got a lot of, you know, racial meaning to them. You know, black guy getting into Cambridge, that's crazy.
Learned to read or write until he was 18. He left school with 2 GCSEs in PE and textiles. And by any measure, the system had already written him off a long time ago. But yet he went on to earn a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and then a PhD. And last year at 37, he became the youngest black professor in the entire 800-year history of the University of Cambridge.
Yes, that's the pride. We got a black professor in Cambridge in 800 years. That's the pride there, dude. And then it turns out it's bollocks. And what do? Well, you just cope and say it's a smear rather than admit the truth. It's like the process of grief. He's not reached acceptance yet.
And this is the story we're constantly sold about how Britain works. Work hard, beat the odds, and the system will reward you. That's meritocracy, apparently. Except meritocracy was never really about merit. It's a story told to people who make it and used to explain away to people who don't, as if the only thing standing between anyone and success is how hard they're willing to work. Because right now, Professor ARDAY is facing renewed plagiarism.
I mean, that is largely true. There are some outliers, obviously. Of course there are. And there are people that they work hard, but they don't work hard in a way that our capitalist structure, you know, is promoting of. So think of like a single mother, for example, right? A single mother with 3 kids, 3 different dads, obviously crazy situation. But the point is that they can work hard bringing up their kids and they can do something that's worthwhile and good. But obviously that's not helping you get a job and move forward in your life. So there are some people that slip through the cracks and are not able to focus on the things that are going to bring them benefit in that way. Well, yes, okay, but yes, I know that, well, they're single mother, but whatever, I get all that, yes. I'm talking about, you know, you could be in a situation where it's quite complicated and not that straightforward. But as a general rule of thumb, if you work hard, yes, you will succeed and you will be rewarded, you know?
Claims that were already referred to 2 universities, Cambridge and Liverpool John Moores, both investigated, both found no evidence of wrongdoing whatsoever. And Cambridge itself said he had been a victim of, and I'm quoting,
yeah, they're relying on institutions that, I mean, I don't know what happened. I'm presuming did not do their due diligence correctly or something. But you can literally see the plagiarism. It's plain. You can look at it right now, and it is explicit.
Them a vile campaign to undermine his credibility. Now, dozens of academics, politicians, and public figures, among them Lord Simon Woolley, Professor Kehinde Andrews, Misan Harriman, the MP John McDonnell, and Dr. Shola have now signed an open letter in his defense.
Wow, you're telling me a bunch of ideologically compromised retards are supporting this guy. Oh, I've changed your mind.
By the Good Law Project. And he is not the only one. In 2017, Professor Kehinde Andrews built Europe's first undergraduate Black Studies degree.
By the way,
and he is not the only one. In 2017, Professor Kehinde...
This guy I've seen, he's a total fucking race huckster bullshit. You know, fucking, oh, black this, black that, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I've seen him on shows talking about, like, whiteness and shit like that. Honestly, the entire structure of a lot of this stuff, I think, is on very faulty ground. And I think a lot of this shit went past unscrutinized because of Floydism. And, you know, I think there's some worthwhile lessons or ideas that you shouldn't throw the baby out of the bathwater. But I think there's some stuff which I don't think is going to really stand up to like long-term academic scrutiny and ideas, you know? Like, this is like an old meme at this point. But do you remember the "you can't be racist to white people" thing, which was pushed? And people were acting like that was academic, you know, certain academic idea that had been set in stone, which was never the case. They were talking about, you know, in a Western society, there's a systemic racism that historically went a certain way, but there was never that you can't be racist to a white person. But this caught on massively, and there was this idea push that it's impossible to be racist to a white person, which is obviously preposterous. It's not just not true. Of course you can be racist to a fucking white person. It doesn't fucking matter that there's systemic issues. Like, of course there's individual racism that can occur. But that's the kind of shtick these idiots were pushing. And I think because there was a certain racial temperature, that idea was accepted by large swaths of like the progressive community to their detriment. And I think it's led them down a wrong path with this stuff, you know? The obsession with identity, the obsession with race that you've seen, that the Democrats went fucking balls to the wall in back in 2020. I mean, look how that ended up, bro. Fucking worthless. It didn't help. It didn't help move the needle, like long term. It helped in the short term in getting like Biden elected. But I think it's been very destructive and damaging to the left. And I think that chucking all this stuff out and just reverting back to, you know, class-based politics is the way. You know, moving back towards, you know, you've got working class people. What do they need? How can we help them? regardless of race, colour or creed. How do we move forward helping these people out?
Andrews built Europe's first undergraduate Black Studies degree at Birmingham City University. And in 2024, the university closed it, citing low recruitment. And when a master's program replaced it, that got closed too, less than a year after it was launched. And in 2023, Professor Hakeem Addy, the first historian of African descent to ever hold a professorship in Britain, was made redundant when the University of Chichester cut his course. The same year his...
Wow. I wonder why that could be. Could it be because it was just a bunch of fucking nig whining? Chud, there's basically no working class in the West. Yeah, but you're looking at it from some retarded definition of working class. Whereas, generally, working class is someone that sells their labour. That's the way that I look at it. The actual definition. Not just, oh, working class is someone that's poor.
book was shortlisted for the prestigious Wolfson Prize. But now let's look at the numbers behind all of this. Just over 1% of professors in UK higher education are black. And of the black academics who do make it into higher education, fewer than 4% ever reach professor. So this was never really about a man's...
Sure, listen, at the top end of that, there are some nuances, right? There are some nuances. So I'm not saying that it's, you know, but you're talking about the outliers. But broadly speaking, if you look at the entirety of people, the vast, vast majority of people who sell the label will be classified as working class. You know, a CEO would be, you know, on a slightly different kind of angle, slightly different perspective on that. But broadly speaking, as a rule of thumb, it works.
Case. This is exactly what happens when black scholars build something real. A smear campaign, a course cut, and a job axed. Different universities, different years, but the same outcome. Black excellence dismantled the moment it gets
black excellence
visible. So I'm sure...
Well, actually, I mean, I'm in a bit of a... I mean, I'm a sole trader. It's a bit of a complex situation, but when I set up my limited company, guys, I will be the petty bourgeoisie. Let's fucking go, dude. Continuing along the process of that fucking J-Reg video. Perfect. I'll believe in you peasants, but I'll still be me. I'll still be me. I'll still be me. I'll still be the same guy. I'll just hate the disableds a bit more. Why are you streaming so early? Because I'm doing a split stream today. So I don't have to stream whilst the tradespeople are in my house. Because I just don't like it, dude. It just feels weird. And they're coming in an hour and 20 minutes. But I will be doing I will definitely be doing a stream later. I will be doing the what do you call it? The Perez Hilton stuff. We'll be covering the Perez Hilton stuff. Lefties are so weak nowadays. When Lysenko said that plants cooperate and you should plant them together because of that, nobody was actually to destroy the crops. No, they did it anyways and endured. Lefties, not soy present lefties. Okay. Yeah, dude, the working class, working class idiots are ruining my fucking stream. I do need to make some phone calls as well, so it's you know. And I was up super early, so I thought, fuck it, I'll just do a thing today. I'll just do a thing. We will see about that, bro. Lots of promises for you about stream time were bullshit. You do understand that I was going through a very complex fucking situation of moving house and stuff, okay? That was just a bit of disruption, but we are largely back to normal now. We are largely back to normal.
Spain update. Ceuta now has 1,100 claiming to be minor migrants it has to take care for years. The central gov is trying to move them to other regions and local govs are in open revolt. Catalonia is saying it will not accept a single one, same as others.
Thank you for the 333. Thank you. Is there a video on that isn't a total racist that I can throw up? Don't worry, guys. Listen, I've done this specifically for you, so you still get your time today. You still get your time with me today, okay? So that's why I've gone early live. live early so I can get the best of both worlds. Trust me, okay? The only problem is getting up so early. You're not ready. Your mind's not quite ready for streaming. I was a little bit like fucking out of it earlier. Really, I need another coffee, but I won't just yet. Okay. So, obviously, everyone's saying it's a vile campaign. They're doing they've done a sort of revolt to try and get him to look at this. Oh, it's in Spanish, bro. Okay, I'll just take your fucking word for it, man, okay? I'll take your word for it. In 2019, Professor ARDAY published his book, Call Britannia a Multi-Ethnic Britain, Uncorking the Champagne Supernova, which examined 1990s British culture through the lens of ethnic minority experiences. He predated Floydism a bit, but he was on the right fucking track, wasn't he? I mean, I think around that time, that was when there was a lot of energy around that sort of mentality. When did White Fragility come out? That's the kind of vibe that I get from that sort of book, you know? Oh, we're going to talk about Britpop, but I'm black. In the first few pages of the book, a section called About the Author states that Professor ARDAY is the author of the following titles, before listing being young, black and male, challenging the dominant discourse. Same claim was made in promotional material for his appearance at a speaking event at Queen's University, as well as an essay about racism in higher education, which was published in June 2020. Oh, this guy knew what was up, didn't he? This guy fucking knew what was up. He saw George Floyd's last breath and thought, oh, I know what I'll do. Oh, they've taken Aunt Jemima off the syrup bottle. Perfect. Perfect time for me to get my fucking nig whining slop out there. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Palgrave Macmillan, an academic and trade publishing company, accepted Professor ARDAY's proposal for the book. But, yes. Right. Got it. So that's what I thought. But I don't necessarily know if he wrote it. I think that he said, basically, he got an agreement to publish it and then it never got published, but he claimed it anyway. So I don't even know if he did. I don't even know if he did fucking do the book at all. So they accepted the proposal but did not publish it. Despite the book not being publicly available, he continued to promote himself as the author. While he was working at Durham University in 2020, he uploaded the title of the book to the university's online repository, an online archive to which academics can upload their research and other work. However, he did not upload any files or content from the book. The entry said, manuscript in preparation, suggesting the work had not yet been completed. Dude, what the fuck were Cambridge doing, man? What on earth were Cambridge doing with this guy? They did not fucking do any due diligence or checks. They were just like, oh, we need a black. Come on in. Come on in. We can do with a black on the books. Let's fucking have at it. His profile page on the university's website listed the book under his publication section with the caveat that it was forthcoming. This was updated in 2023 to manuscript submitted for publication before the page was deleted. Palgrave Macmillan confirmed to The Telegraph the project had been abandoned several years ago, although a spokesman would not comment on why. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. What is this? Oh, I saw this clip doing the rounds. Damn, he got a taste for killing after he blew up his mother. Oh my god, dude.
Is shoot him, problem solved? That's what I would do. That's what I think they should. I think they should just fucking shoot him. Like, I've said this before.
Bro, dude, Asmongold is how people act like my stream is like. When actually, if you listen to my stream, I have, the same moderate fucking lefty Labour takes on these matters. But yeah, people act like I'm like, yeah, shoot him at the fucking border, bro. Send them all back fucking home. If I see a single brown piece of flesh by the cliffs of Dover, they're getting blown to smithereens by a nuclear fucking weapon. And it's like, bro, what? I'm not anywhere like this. This is fucking insane to me, dude.
Or like, I know that it might sound like, oh, well, you shouldn't do that. I have no sympathy for doing that, and I would do that in a second because it's the right thing to do in the long term. You can never look at in a very, very isolated incident. You could say,
yeah, honestly, you know, people say a lot of things about me, but the trick is to not give a fuck because people are retarded, and it literally doesn't matter what idiots say about you. Anyway, yeah, apparently Asmongold's gone full fucking, you know, slaughter the children, slaughter the brown children fucking perspective. I remember there being a controversy years ago in Twitch poll because there was a guy that said we should set up machine gun nests at the fucking Mexican border. You know? And he got in like massive controversy for it. I mean, the thing is, at the time it was very controversial, but now he'd probably be promoted into some sort of position of office for the Republicans, you know? So, yeah, I mean, this guy is obviously full of shit. I'd like to know why it was abandoned, though. Did he, like, not write it? A Durham University spokesman said, it is standard practice for academics to list forthcoming books or manuscripts on their web pages. It can take some time for works to appear in print. We are dependent on authors updating us on the status of their work, as it is over 4 years since Jason left Durham. Any further questions need to be directed to the author.
This is a smear because underlying this, it's not, oh, we found someone who maybe cheated. The underlying argument here is he proves that DEI hires are happening and undermining education. How could this black man possibly be at Cambridge? Oh, because he's lying, because he's a fraud, because he's fake. That's what DEI does. That's the underlying thing. And this is why it's a smear.
Oh, see that
completely.
In responding to this, they have validated this right-wing narrative. This is the real... I kind of want to give these people advice and be like, don't go all in on it, right? Just be a bit more cautious. Be a bit more fucking cautious. Be a bit more like, let's wait for more information and see what comes out of this. You know? I think it's just such a mistake to so strongly defend this guy. Just be more fucking cautious, dude. Just hold back a little bit.
Wrong. There is special treatment for black people. We get treated worse. We get marginalized. We get made redundant. We're the most successful people in the uni. Like, look, believe me, here talking to you, who's worked at an institution, BCU, for almost 12 years. Doesn't matter who, literally, you work twice as hard, be twice as good. They still don't get rid of you. Right? This applies to me and it applies to others who will let go. That's how we get treated. And given my CV status, standing, all that stuff, I ain't got people knocking down my door for a job. I'm unemployed. Like I said, technically right now, unemployed. It doesn't make no sense. Given the track record, given everything, given that. That's how we get treated. Believe me, we do not get positive, beneficial treatment. No one's ever handed me a damn thing because I'm black. Everything's fought for, clawed for, held on for a little piece.
Also, when it comes to like academia, is it not just like a quite robust dynamic where you do get sort of challenged and questioned? And is that not the whole point of academia? You put out a theory and you get challenged and questioned and disagreed with, and people, you know, it just, the vibe I get is that you just want what you think to be accepted without question. Is this the whiteness guy? I think this is the whiteness guy, isn't it? The one who used to go on all the shows during the height of Floydism and talk about how bad blacks have got it.
Awful. Like, literally awful. So if you're going to tell me that university, I think he had 2 investigations on this PhD thing, that the white establishment looked at this thing and said, nah, it's fine. The white establishment looked at his publications and went, nah, they're fine. They don't do that because of DEI. There is no way that he's got beneficial treatment. It doesn't happen. So let's just kick all of that out right now. This is not because he's black, because the actual underlying thing here is that he's not supposed to be there. He can't have black people at Cambridge. That's the underlying thing. I couldn't care less if he exaggerates some stuff. I 100.
I don't care if he exaggerates some stuff, like saying he published a book that he didn't. Oh my God, dude. No, that's science departments, Chud. Social departments are all about social justice, providing blacks with a piece of intellectual pie. Dude, there are black scientists, man. Come on. Don't be fucking silly, bro. I'm sure there's black. I don't know because I don't know. Not because it's like, oh, name every black scientist. I don't fucking know because I don't follow science stuff. Okay, but I'm sure there's going to be some good black scientists out there. Yeah, yo, true. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yes, exactly. Neil deGrasse Tyson. That guy's great.
% promise you. If you go to pick a random Cambridge professor, look at their CV, you're gonna
Nazi
find some
professor.
I can promise you that. So, this is not a story. This shouldn't even be. I don't know why this is even in the news. Let alone why is New York picking it up? It's only news because he's black, because they don't think we should be there, right? They don't think we should be there. This is a smear.
Oh, dude, it's not. Yes, there are some rightoids that think blacks can't do academia, like that Coffness guy that said blacks should stick to entertainment and sports, apparently. Okay? So I'm not saying there aren't people that you know, but the broader issue here is a question and conversation about, has the pursuit of equality led to people getting taken on that should not have gotten taken on? Have con artists taken advantage of the welcoming dynamic of equality? And the answer is yes, they have. ARDAY's a prime case in it. So anyway, he's obviously resigned now. The Cambridge announced they were going to start investigating him. And obviously, Jason's resigned because I think he knows the writing's on the wall. Okay, where can I find their post about it? Here we go, Cambridge University. I'm assuming they posted it on Twitter. Did they not post it on Twitter to placate the racoids? I'll try and find it. Cambridge statement on ARDAY. I can't find it, dude. What the fuck? Don't ask what the R stands for on ARDAY. Which would be retard, wouldn't it? Because he's like giga autistic. He does look very soft, I agree. Okay, here we go. Oh, they posted it on their website, of course. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So this is before he resigned, I think. The University of Cambridge has begun an investigation following new information about Professor ARDAY's academic qualifications and honorary appointments. In order to ensure a fair process, we will not comment further until this is concluded. Separately, there remain a number of ongoing complaints regarding academic misconduct, which are being handled in line with our misconduct in research policy. This is consistent with our previous statement on the matter. Oh, so this is only from a couple of days ago. Think might be a bit of self-sweeping happening here. Interesting. What about all the defense? What about all the endless defense that you've made of this fucking guy? While we are fully aware of the public commentary and concerns around this matter, it remains vital that any process is thorough and adheres to both university policies and employment law. We also fully recognise there is a person at the centre of the situation, and we continue to provide support to him. We are aware that Jesus College, Cambridge will be taking their own steps in relation to some of these matters. So yes, this was, the fucking, what they put out yesterday. And then this guy fucking resigns. Dear colleagues, It is with profound sadness that I write to resign with immediate effect from my position at the University of Cambridge and Jesus College. Why would you need to resign if this is wrong? Why? The answer is you wouldn't need to resign. Why the fuck would you resign this prestigious premium position if you were in the right? You wouldn't. Why the fuck would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Oh yeah, resign your position. This is like someone stopping being a streamer because there's rape allegations that they say are false, but they decided they're going to stop streaming. Doesn't make any fucking sense, man. Yeah, like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. When I accepted the extraordinary honour of becoming Professor of Sociology at Cambridge, it was, without question, the greatest professional privilege of my life. To become the youngest black professor in the university's history was something I could scarcely have imagined as a child growing up with a diagnosis of autism, unable to speak until I was 11 years old. The response from so many people across the world was overwhelming. Thousands celebrated not simply my appointment, but what it represented. The talent, perseverance, and hope can triumph over even the greatest adversity. It has been the privilege of my life to teach my students, to learn alongside them, and to witness their curiosity, kindness, and ambition. They have given me far more than I could ever have given them. Sadly, the years since my appointment have also been marked by an unrelenting level of public scrutiny and personal attack. Dude, this is so fucked. Yes, dude. You do not get to be a massive fucking public figure guy, putting yourself out there on a massive stage, constantly getting this attention, and then go, oh, you're scrutinizing me too much. Yes, welcome to being a fucking public figure. If he was some quiet guy diligently doing research, yeah, sure, what does it fucking matter? But he's not. But he's fucking not. Dude, I'm seeing more clips. We'll throw these clips up in a sec. I just hate this victim Andy shit where you want all the positive attention, but then the negative attention comes and you start fucking crying about it. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have fucking propped yourself up on all this fucking news stories and just done some research on something. While criticism is an inevitable part of academic life, what I have experienced has gone far beyond scholarly disagreement. The relentless accusations, speculation, and public commentary have taken a profound toll on me and those who I love. I've tried to continue because I believe deeply in the values of higher education, in rigorous scholarship, and the transformative power of universities. I've tried because of my students, my colleagues, and the countless people who have written me to tell me my journey gave them hope. But there comes a point when the personal cost becomes too great. I have a family. I want to be present for them. I want to reclaim some peace, some privacy, and some semblance of an ordinary life. I no longer wish to feel as though I'm living under a constant spotlight, where every aspect of my life is subject to public examination and judgment. For my own well-being, for my family. Wait, what? I'm hoping so hard that goth whores, only fan goth whores getting drama. Chud coverage. Dude, Todd, I think you're getting a bit too Dude, you're giving me fucking Mahawker energy, bro. I think you need to take a bit of time off, man. Fucking hell, dude. Honestly, man, I'll give you an hour for now. You're getting a bit too fucking into it, man. My coverage should not make you feel that way about something, dude. Okay? You need to fucking take some time out and think about what you're saying, buddy. You're getting a bit too into it, mate. I don't want to have another Mahawker situation on my hands, okay? Anyway, continuing on. Nice try, Mahawker. No, Mahawker's back. Mahawker's back. Mahawker's back. Mahawker's back. Although, to be fair, I think he has been around a bit, but I think he took some time off or something. For my own well-being, my family, and for those who have stood by me throughout this difficult period, I have concluded that the only way to bring this chapter to an end is to step away. The decision should not be interpreted as a loss of faith in scholarship or in the values that first brought me to Cambridge, nor should it be mistaken for an acceptance of the narratives that have surrounded me. It is simply the decision of someone who has reached the limits of what any person should reasonably be expected to endure. To my students, thank you. Teaching you has been the greatest honour of my academic career. You're brilliant. What, dude? I want to see people talking about what they learned from this guy. What lessons did he do? What new insight or value or contribution did he make to their learning procedure? Do you know what I mean? What was he doing classes on? What was he talking about? Your brilliance, compassion and determination gives me enormous hope for the future. To my colleagues and the many thousands of people from every corner of the world who have supported me, defended me, written to me, and believed me when it mattered most, I offer my deepest gratitude. Your kindness has carried me through some of the darkest moments of my life. This is not the end of my work. It is simply the end of this chapter. I need time to heal. Oh, dude, this guy is such a dude. I need time to heal, bro. He's such a con artist, dude. I need time to simply be myself again. And when that time comes, I will return. I will return stronger, wiser, and with the same determination that has always defined my journey. There is still so much work to do, and I look forward to doing it alongside so many of you in the years ahead. For now, however, I ask only for your understanding, for compassion, and for the space to begin again. With gratitude, Professor Jason ARDAY. Okay. So, what was the Ibrahim Kendi stuff? Did he get exposed as being some sort of fraud? Because this guy's talking about him too. I've now spent quite a number of hours listening to Jason ARDAY talking, and I'm still waiting for insights from him that one would need even a college education to cultivate. Mostly it's just a long recitation about triumphing over adversity. Where can I see his fucking lessons, man? It must have been recorded for this to be clipped. And yet you can see people in the videos hanging on his every word like he's the Pope of the Dalai Lama. The disconnect boggles the mind. I've been told, however, that in at least one instance, he was hired to speak at a university, and when he started talking, quite a number of people in the room were gobsmacked by the drivel he was offering them. Same with Ibrahim X Kendi. I'll never forget how many of my former academic colleagues exalted Kendi as some sort of generational genius. They were really captivated by him, or at least pretended to be, yet every time I read his work or heard him speak, he came across as extremely shallow and simple-minded, perhaps even stupid. There were many black intellectuals I highly respect, so it's not like racial prejudice blinded me to Kendi's genius. I doubt my colleagues actually read his work. They just put his book on their office shelf like lamb's blood over a door during Passover. Whoa! Do you comment? Do you comment? Okay. So this is from his book, which required a ghostwriter, apparently. Wait, have you found gold? What is this?
Nobody expects the Catholic conclave to obtain some scientific knowledge. Sociology should be treated the same. You should not expect science from the conceptual penis paper. Sociology is a conclave of liberal priests, not scientists.
Thank you for the 333. Well, obviously there was that guy who submitted a bunch of phony studies, and they got... Did they get published somewhere? And progressives are like spitting feathers about it. But it's like, well, yeah, he published a bunch of phony nonsense and it got published because there isn't, you know, that level of scrutiny. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it was like a load of bollocks, wasn't it? So this is a Cambridge academic's work. So take that into account as we have a quick look through this, okay? As we stepped in through the front door, Gift took off his beige raincoat she always wore and hung it on his hook. But I was so distracted I went down and sat on the sofa in the living room, my jacket and shoes still on. When did we start wearing shoes and shites, she demanded. No shoes in the house was Gift's cardinal rule. Still in the daze, I took off my shoes and stared at my feet. And then it came to me. Before Gift could reprimand me again, I looked up. I know what I want to do in my life, Gift, I told her. I want to help people. I'm going to raise money to help people. I'm going to raise as much money as I can and help as many people as I can. Not only is it completely absurd, shitty writing. No, sorry, not only is it total slop, I want to be a great person and I want to be a hero posting. It's also written really badly. I'm going to raise as much money as I can and help as many people as I can. That's written terribly. It's like a child has written it. It's like a literal fucking child has written this. Hang on a minute, Jason, Gift replied. You know you should always try and help people, but don't forget, you're still learning to read and write. One thing at a time. Oh my God, dude. It's like a fantasist idea of what someone like this would act like. What I saw today, it's not right. It's not fair and it's not right. You know I agree with you, Jason, but I'm going to work with a lot of people to raise money, and I'm going to give it away to people who don't have a home or anything. Dude. Oh my God, man. I made a pledge to myself that I would do all that I could to help people in need. Wow. Great stuff. Great stuff from this guy. Okay, I'm not going to watch all of this, but I just want to get a little taste of this. This was the lecture.
Toilets, if you need them, are by the stairs to the right-hand side of the foyer.
We got a race traitor on our hands, it looks like.
So again, go out these doors. So that's all on the fun, exciting health and safety stuff. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. GWR Railways have again meant that Jason has arrived a little bit later than we were anticipating. So while he's just kind of setting things up, and thank you for just running in without any kind of notice, I'd just like to take a few minutes just to intro tonight's speaker and the lecture series. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this British Academy lecture, hosted in partnership with the faculty.
Wait, sorry. Wait. He's late. Is that true? Or are you just making that? Did I miss that? Is he actually fucking late? Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Oh man. Sorry, I missed it. Sorry. Oh my God, dude. That is unreal. That's fucking too much, right? Come on.
For Arts, Law and Social Sciences here at the University of Bristol. I'm Professor Esther Dermott. I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the faculty. The British Academy, for those of you who don't know, is an independent fellowship of world-leading scholars, a funding body for research and a forum for debate.
Dude, it is preposterous that he got this promoted and believed and accepted by the kind of broader academic community. Fuck me, dude. This is a scandal. How does this not trigger some massive internal competency thing of people going, how did this fucking happen, man? This is crazy.
And as the UK's National Academy for the Humanities and Social Sciences, it mobilises these disciplines and also advocates for them. And similarly, and why we're really very happy that we can host the lecture this evening, our new faculty also brings together those shape disciplines and embraces the really critical role played by the arts, humanities, law and social sciences in order to address the challenges faced by complex societies, ensuring that we are able to better understand the past, interpret the present and envision the future.
You know what that means, don't you? We need to do a bunch of race guilt shit as whiteys for the blacks. That's what that means.
So, held in partnership with universities across the UK, the British Academy Lecture Series showcases the very best scholarship in these disciplines and stimulates discussion. And I'm therefore delighted to introduce this evening's lecturer, Professor Jason ARDAY, who I'm sure will do all of that. So let me just say briefly a little bit about Jason. So he is the Professorial Chair in the Sociology of Education at the University of Cambridge. And previously he was a Professor of Sociology of Education.
For want of a better term, Cambridge is the linchpin of all this stuff, because by taking him on, they've lended the weight of their credibility to his name, and everything follows on from there, you know? So you've got another university. The Emperor's New Clothes is the best way of thinking of this. So he's got Cambridge behind him. He then comes and does a talk, okay? And you don't want to question it because you think, well, he's a Cambridge guy. But you probably do have doubts. You probably do have questions. You probably do think, what's this guy on about? But you don't say anything or question it because of the political temperature and the climate and the fact he's backed by Cambridge, you know? But surely this should have been and you know, it takes a literal fucking race realist to call the cards as they're fucking played, rather than someone coming forward and going, I've got concerns, I've got issues. From within academia that, you know, is not coming at it from the perspective of black should only work in entertainment and sports.
At the University of Glasgow. He's a trustee of the Runnymede Trust, which is the UK's leading race equality think tank, and also the British Sociological Association, the BSA. He sits on the Centre for Labour and Social Studies National Advisory Panel,
Fucking
the
hell, this is
NHS
scary,
Race
man.
and Health Observatory Academic Reference Group.
Total fraud, by the way. Total fraud hack. And he's sitting on an NHS fucking advisory. Dude. Wow. It's scary. That's the thing, dude. It's not just about the higher education angle. It's I don't know what he did on this fucking thing, but that sounds pretty fucking bad, doesn't it? That he's advising the NHS in spite having, you know, a totally fraudulent background.
And the ITV Cultural Advisory Council. He's been a guest editor on BBC Radio 4's Today programme, and in 2023 was listed 4th on the prestigious Shaw Trust Disability Power 100. It's great that so many people have turned out this evening to hear this lecture. I know that I and everybody else here are really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And I'm going to let you introduce the content, which you can do much better than I can, with your lecture, I Know What I Know, the Story of Graceland. So thank you very much, and over to you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all keeping? You well? Honestly, like I was on the train, you wake up this morning, I'm like, right, okay, last 4 times I've been to Bristol, always been late. Through no fault of my own, I'm going to do everything I can.
Wait, what was that?
Right, okay, last 4 times I've been to Bristol, always been late.
The last 4 times he's been to Bristol, presumably for some uni thing. He's been late, bro. How? Fucking how, dude? Do you not know what a fucking train timetable is? Holy shit, man.
Through no fault of my own, I'm going to do everything I can.
Guys, little tip, if you're struggling with getting somewhere on time, is leave a bit earlier next time. Little tip for you there. Oh,
UK, coloured people time in the US, island time in the Caribbean, and Africa time. Diaspora, it's about time we had a rebrand because these terms aren't serving us. Essentially, these terms mean consent to arrive significantly after the official start time, and one dictionary simply terms aren't serving us.
Bro, what was this? Am I late or are you early? Is this a racist cartoon? I can't fucking tell. It's got African time on the wall.
Essentially, these terms mean consent to arrive significantly after the official start time, and one dictionary simply states Africa time as unpunctuality, a whole continent as monoliths, mad. These terms have persisted in popular culture despite some extreme initiatives, like in the Ivory Coast in 2007. A local public relations firm...
Wait, I don't think that's actually a racist term. I think that's a term that's used by Africans to describe their own fucking inability to be on time. Isn't it? That other poster, that didn't look like a racist thing, the African time thing.
Who were backed by the president, held a punctuality night with the slogan, Africa time is killing Africa, let's fight it. Where the winner, pictured, won a $60,000 villa for being on time. And those who were tardy were threatened with being named and shamed on a website. Could you imagine? Many are team shame or reclaim. However, there's a third option, rebrand. Rather than continue to using the demeaning stereotype and pejorative, use this term, polychronic, a term that does many things at once. Their concept of time is free-flowing and changes depending on the situation. Interruptions are a natural part of life. Whereas the West are monochronic. The schedule may take precedence over interpersonal relationships.
Dude, what I love about this is coming up, this is a classic thing, isn't it? It's coming up with some ridiculous concept to justify being late. It's so preposterous, man. It's so fucking ridiculous. Or just be on time for things. I don't know, dude. There's that option as well.
Relationships, and there's an emphasis on schedules and preciseness as time is money. However, there's an origin story. Monochronic time in the Western world was brought about by the Industrial Revolution. And although the Industrial Revolution could not have happened without Africa, you could perhaps argue that the Industrial Revolution hasn't taken place for a number of reasons within Africa, and that's perhaps why some are on polychronic time. Further to this, according to a 2019 Harvard medical study, you live longer if you have a polychronic approach. Now, social media comedians, this is not an excuse to be late, especially if you live in a monochronic, multicultural society, abide by the laws of the land. My hope is that moving forward, the globe will have an intercultural experience. The West can learn from the rest and be less stressed, and the rest can learn from the West, but still maintain its relaxed charm. So bin these terms and use polychronic and monochronic. Hope that helps.
No, he's saying that we need to just, be more accepting of being late for things. I mean, dude, maybe it is just my Western cultural, propaganda that's been fed into my brain for years. But it's just quite a simplistic affair for me. If you agree a time for something, then you turn up at the time. And if you don't, that's bad. And you should feel bad about that. Yeah, that's just how it is. I don't know, man. Maybe I've just been about it drilled into me too much, but I think that it's pretty reasonable out of a respect thing that you respect someone's time. Unless you're talking about streaming. No, I do feel bad when I'm not able to stream. I do feel bad about it. It fucking sucks. Dude, I've said before that I hate my schedule being thrown off. It's one of my most frustrating things that I have to, contend with. It's when my schedule's interfered with. I fucking hate it. But I don't know. It's like if you're particularly if you're meeting someone, I think it's very important to be respectful of that person's time and be there when you say you're going to be. It's just, to me, it's just basic. It's basic respect, But there's this, in fairness, okay. I do think that there is this different concept in other countries. So I do think there is truly a cultural aspect with it where, in countries that aren't very productive, they could just turn up for things whenever the fuck they want and it doesn't matter. So there's more of a culture of, staying and talking to your mum for a bit longer before you fuck off to work or some shit, But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you went over there and lived in a society like that, well, you'd have to, amend to that mentality. And you might expect that people are not going to be there on time because you're operating off a different dynamic. But if you're in this country, just turn up to shit on time. Problem fucking solved.
And to be on everything in my power that I can control, I'm going to do what I can. I'm literally sat on the train, I'm like what king of the conquers? Like, what am I supposed to do? Anyway, we've got here, I will say, it's what's really kind of interesting about British Academy is I was very fortunate to be able to do this maybe 18 months ago now. Feels like that, maybe 14 months ago. And I couldn't do it at the time. And one of the things that they bestow on you is that you're allowed to choose the place you want to do it. And I've always had a huge affinity for this place. I love Bristol as a uni so much, and they asked me where, all the unis you could choose, where do you want to go? And I said here. So to be here again, I don't know how many times I've spoken at Bristol, but it's a lot.
Okay, so far it's
a lot.
niceties.
So I really do love this place and have a huge affinity for the people here. So it's not lost on me that it's a Thursday evening and you've all taken the time to be here to break bread with me this evening. So up front, I'm hugely grateful. I'm going to try and hopefully make this as interesting as possible. So it's probably best to kind of situate this within the context of the album and my life in particular. So,
okay, I'm going to be really honest, man. I don't know much about this academia shit, right? But normally, don't you go and give a speech about some crazy research you're doing or something that you've learned in your research that's really interesting, is going to help enrich the understanding of other people's lives? You know, like, I don't know, even in sociology, could you not have some sort of thesis that you're working on or some sort of observation about society that you've made that is compelling and new and interesting? But what, he's going there to talk about some fucking album?
July 2012, best summer of my life, the best 4 weeks of my life. And there was a couple of events that happened. So this particular album has been sort of the soundtrack to my life in many respects. I was very fortunate to hear this album from a very young age. And, you know, in 2012 was the 25th anniversary of Graceland. So it was the 25th anniversary of the album. And I found myself in this amazing summer, this kind of beautiful Indian summer that I'd had. And there was 3 things that happened. I was fortunate enough to run with the Olympic torch. I got my first gig in academia. And I went to Hard Rock Calling, and I saw, on the Friday night, I saw Paul McCartney. And on the Saturday, I saw Paul Simon and the whole kind of act of the Graceland group. And I remember...
Well, the torch thing might be correct, surely, because that would be televised, right? Right? Do we need to look into the torch thing too?
Standing there at this particular point with my younger brother and just thinking, this is insane. Like, we've listened to this album our whole life. And to give you some idea, the likelihood of that whole collective being brought together after 25 years was highly unlikely for a lot of reasons that I'm going to go into. So it was insane. I was, me and Simon stood there, we just couldn't believe it. I think at one point we were both crying, like, and we just out of sheer happiness. I was thinking, it'll never get better than this. It'll never get better than this, and it actually didn't. That was as great as it got. And I've been fortunate enough throughout my life. I've been to over 500 music gigs, but that one is still the best gig bar none. So I'll take you back to this particular story. Graceland. So why is it such an iconic album?
No. I'm not... Yeah. I agree with you. I think, I don't want to just sit here and, shit on everything he's doing. I think there is a level of building rapport, which is fine. Like, you don't want to go in and start giving some talk about some boffin shit. You want to go in there and be, like, affable and, maybe tell a few jokes and get people kind of on side.
Album. There are a number of reasons that make Graceland a really iconic album. I would, if we just position this first with Paul Simon as an individual, I guess one of the
Let's listen on a bit longer and see.
Important things I always say, it's always up for debate. Who are the great singer-songwriters? Who is the greatest singer-songwriter? So, let's put that up front and we can argue afterwards. I would say Paul Simon stands alone. I think there's a couple of people that joined him on that plinth. But, in terms of first, second and third, I would put Paul Simon number 1 as the greatest singer-songwriter. And I guess part of it is this amazing back catalogue, which really goes back to him being a musician, well, becoming a professional musician at the age of 16. And famously, he begun that journey with Art Garfunkel. And a lot of people kind of contest that. A lot of Paul Simon's best work really happened when he was with Art Garfunkel. Now, Paul Simon was in a really interesting situation in his life, okay? And I don't want to teach people to suck eggs, but there's a minutiae about this particular album that's a really, really important detail, which does chime with a lot of the work that I generally do around cultural studies and racism, generally speaking. But before we get to that bit, it's important to have this pre-context. So Paul Simon has this unbroken string of hits, right, from the age of 16. Literally when he first kind of comes into the music scene from around early 60s to the late 70s.
Oh, could you link that?
And
The
he finds
journo-
himself in this
the
situation.
journo
He's at this
guy.
kind of musical crossroads. So he's had this fallout with kind of Art Garfunkel, which most people will know. And, you know, he's been a solo artist, a successful solo artist.
Well, I don't think that there's any. So the question here is not necessarily like, oh, he's not talking about this thing exactly. Like, it's more so this guy is the first black academic guy, professor at Cambridge. Are you getting from him what you'd expect from someone in that prestigious position? You know, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. And I'm just like, I don't know. So far, it seems fine. He's just doing a bit of rapport building. So I don't think it's that crazy. The reason he likes his album so much is because he used African sounds and elements. Is that true?
Some time. So Art Garfunkel, obviously the voice. Paul Simon was always jealous of Art Garfunkel because he had this amazing, beautiful voice. Art Garfunkel was massively jealous of Paul Simon because Paul Simon could write all these beautiful songs. Now, what was really interesting is that, again, you've got this unbroken string of hits, and then he hits a road bump in 1983, and he released an album called Hearts and Bones. So he's had these commercial hits, and he's actually experienced his first
like I
commercial
don't
flop.
hate this speak. It's like, is this what you'd expect from a? Well, maybe I'm asking the wrong group of people. Is this what you would expect from the first black professor from the University of Cambridge? Because if I was black and I was the first black University of Cambridge, I'd be like, I want to blow their socks off with crazy shit to show just how justified I am to be here. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, this is what a high school autist could come up with. That's the energy that I'm getting from this.
Now, his first commercial flop is this album, Hearts and Bones. Now, up
Oh,
until
the
this
youngest.
point,
Sorry, the
Warner
youngest,
Brothers were
whatever
always
it
kind of
was.
like, whoa, like, you know, what's the hit? What's the hit on the record? What's the hit on the record? And, you know, it was just a commercial flop. So they said,
Let him
we're
cook,
not happy
let him
with this.
cook.
And at this particular point in time, music as an industry was changing. So there was lots of, apart from anything else, you have kind of new wave coming in. You have new romantics. You have a completely different music scene taking over globally, which is really being spearheaded by a lot by what's happening in Europe, particularly Great Britain at the time, or England to be very specific. And one of the things that's kind of really interesting with that is that you kind of have these separate genres that are really kind of occupying the airwaves. So you have also reggae, which kind of really hit, I wouldn't say hit crescendo then, but you really had the work of Bob Marley really imprinting that in a really significant way, particularly during his time in London. But obviously, as you'll know, Bob Marley died in 1981. So there was still this kind of legacy of reggae artists that were coming through. So Bunny Wailer was coming through. You had Aswad. You had all of these people that were still coming through. So you had this kind of important imprint. You had the kind of emergence, or I guess I call it the death, but he comes back again, of James Brown, who had kind of been the godfather of soul, but then ends up being in this crazy situation where 2 years, you know, within the mid-80s, he becomes almost probably the most, he had a resurgence because of Rocky IV, living in America, and finds himself in a situation where he becomes the most sampled artist, probably still is, in history. Okay?
Okay, I'm going to just skip to see if he gets to anything of any merit. So let's skip forward 10 minutes and see what he's talking about here.
Really reflecting any kind of prose that recognises that, actually, I've infringed on this boycott, really out of self-interest, and now I'm trying to position it as though I'm working with these township musicians, and actually it's a collaborative endeavour, and they want to do it. And so he takes everyone to New York, takes the whole group to New York. And obviously what's interesting for these black South Africans is that in many respects, well, in all respects, it's their first taste of freedom. Because in South Africa, they had to have...
It's just Nick whining. It's just using this to move on to Nick whining.
Have passes to be able to go to places, and they just weren't allowed to go to places, as you'll all be aware of, during apartheid. So you have this situation where the musicians...
So his and also, even if we take it at its face value, okay, what is he presenting here? Black South Africans are oppressed. Oh, what, dude? What? Oh my God. What compelling new thought you're bringing to the table, bro. You're telling me black South Africans that are under an apartheid were oppressed. Oh my fucking God, dude. What the fuck, man?
Feel a bit more free. They feel, you know, the sense of, you know, we're participating in this endeavour. And it seems a bit more collaborative, a bit more participatory, because there is that element of freedom, the one thing we all cherish more than anything, that liberty, that freedom, that egalitarian space. And Simon starts to recognise them as not only individuals, but people that are on his level. which is something he hadn't done because he, by his own admission, had been quite arrogant in terms of what he felt about these musicians. And what's really interesting is how much then, in that space, they feel more confident to challenge a lot of the things that he's doing. So when we kind of think of songs like, what's a good example, Under African Skies, one of the things that he's advised on is that he works with a white female musician on this track. And it's at that point he's advised that if we ever go live with this, there is only one person who would be best suited to sing this particular song. So Paul Simon's still, sitting in that arrogance. It's like, well, who? I've made this suggestion. And Joseph Shabalala says to him, there's only one person you can ask. And I think that's Miriam Makeba. This is the person you need to ask. Miriam Makeba, the Queen of South Africa. Not literally, but she's christened the Queen of South Africa. And one of the things that becomes really interesting is that he doesn't heed this particular advice. But then he kind of thinks about it and thinks about it and thinks about it. And
okay, let's skip forward again. Because he's trying to... This is like... Okay, I will say now, I know nothing about academia, and I know even less about black analysis of music, okay? But the energy that I'm getting here is someone who is like out of their depth, doesn't really fucking know this shit, and is just saying things. Do you know what I mean? That's like, bro, it's just like people are going to nod along and this is good. But I listen to this and I think, if I'm listening to like even if I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, if I'm listening to like a Cambridge professor talk, I'm going to be like blown away by the unique insight and knowledge that they're bringing to the table. Even if it's some sociology stuff or something, I would expect it to be like blow your socks off stuff. And he's just kind of doing a bit of nig whining mixed in with analysis of Paul Simon's music from a black perspective.
can adopt for us to be able to see. All they have are these horrendous images, one being Stephen Biko, okay? So as the kind of white Africana legend had it, until these pictures were revealed, Stephen Biko died of hunger strike. Now, those of you who've ever seen the open casket of Stephen Biko will, that doesn't look to me as though someone died of hunger strike. What actually happened was he was beaten to death. And a lot of...
Okay, Rodimus Prime. As someone with a passing familiarity with this topic, I find this really sad from occasion. Thank you for validating what I think. Thank you.
Prisoners in South Africa, black prisoners, died of hunger strike. Their bodies were never found and they were never brought to these families. So that was a really, really powerful thing. But Hugh Masekela, who had been, to all extents, on, I would say, a difficult end, but not the real sharp end, because he was out of that environment without any judgment. He would need to be, because he pursued this musical career. And so he spoke to South Africans, and he was really the segue for Simon to kind of seek forgiveness. And he was also the person that pricked Paul Simon's conscience to say, if you want to come out of this alive, when this goes on tour, you cannot receive any money for this, because you need to reposition yourself as this white person, this white privileged male who has exploited these township musicians.
Oh my God,
Paul Simon, I wouldn't say he hesitantly agrees to this, but he recognises actually, yes.
Bro, this one of the most obnoxious things, the guilt. You need to feel guilty about making money off this bad thing, so give it some blacks instead.
There is some penance that I do need to pay. And so this, in 1987, they go on tour. And they go on tour and they end the tour in Zimbabwe. Which in itself was a really unique thing, given that Zimbabwe had recently been experiencing its own independence, of which it was around 8-7 years by that point. And famously, Bob Marley's tribute to...
How did that go? How did that go in the end? The 1 trillion Zimbabwean note comes to mind.
Zimbabwe was to actually write a song called Zimbabwe to speak to...
Oh, we got some money problems. Let's just print shitloads of it and see what happens. Dude, I watched a really good video about that. About the did I watch it on stream? About the Zimbabwean inflation crisis.
And this concert goes down a storm. It goes down an absolute storm. You have all of the musicians there. It's an entirely black, it's the best of black. It's unbelievable. You have all these township musicians. They all important. It's a very important thing. One of the things that was really interesting.
Bro, dude? He makes this passing reference to Zimbabwe independence, and it's broadly accepted that Zimbabwe independence has been a fucking disaster.
You can just entertain me while I take this no food, no drink sign. Just to picture this, instead of this being this, it's an album sleeve, right? It's an album sleeve. So you open the album, and what was what was really interesting was, which I guess people hadn't anticipated, was that all of the songs, all of the musicians were credited. And straight away, one of the things people started thinking is, okay, they're all going to be equally remunerated and equally paid. Now, that became a really significant thing because one of the accusations was that actually Paul Simon wasn't going to, remunerate these musicians appropriately. He was going to take all the songwriting credits, and he didn't. He didn't. And I guess the big kind of arguments that have always come with this is that, was it cultural appropriation? Did Simon go over to South Africa?
Dude! Okay, this guy's a total hack, bro. Cultural appropriation, bro. At this level, at this fucking level of discourse about this stuff, and you're talking about fucking cultural appropriation in fucking 2024, bro.
And was he an opportunist? Did he see this opportunity that he could...
Dude, this guy is clearly riding the wave of 2019 era race politics through to Floydism, and that's all that he's got in the fucking tank. It's all he's got to offer. That's all he's bringing to the fucking table. And people are still really gobbling it up years later.
And bank upon.
Get his black ass out of there now!
I wouldn't say I'm a cynical person. And it's
okay, that's enough for me. This guy's a total fucking bullshit artist. Dude, Sky News reported on this now as well,
Now,
apparently.
the leader of the Green Party, Zach Polanski, has again backed a Cambridge professor
Oh, you
who
just
has
think
had
this
to quit
clip?
over plagiarism. Jason ARDAY has resigned after the university launched an investigation into his qualifications.
So this is the clip on LBC of this. Oh, dude. No, look at his face here, dude. Of course, Zach Polanski's got the retarded take on this. What an idiot, man.
Jason ARDAY, Cambridge Professor of Sociology and Education. Back on July the 30th, you signed an open letter in support of him, saying that there was an orchestrated and grim effort to delegitimise a young working-class academic for the sin of being successful while black.
Oh, dude. It's such a mistake to do this. I know that they're doing it for the right reason, but this is a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. As a progressive, you should not fall on your sword for this. You should, if I was advising, I would say, listen, there is a lot of heat around this guy. I don't think it's just right-wing narratives. I do genuinely think there's an issue with this guy. And just put out a more cautious statement. I don't know. I don't know what it would be exactly, but why do you have to go so full-throated to support him?
Do you still stand by him?
Well, I don't know, Jason, and the reason why I signed that letter is ultimately...
Oh, a little bit of a... I don't know this guy, dude. Okay, but I think he is going to defend him still.
It was saying that we should have a fair process, that the university should have a fair investigation, and that this shouldn't be judged by social media.
Bro, wait a second. No, this is not really a double down. This is Oh, fuck, what an idiot that's written this. He's not doubling down. He is softly... He's doing the thing where he's like, well, I always said this. But he didn't always say this, bro. He was supporting him before. And now this has happened. He's trying to be like, well, I just think there should be an investigation.
Or by the Telegraph newspaper.
I've just heard that while we've been on the air, Jason ARDAY has resigned from the University of Cambridge with immediate effect. So what's your reaction to that?
I think the whole affair sounds pretty sad. Again, I think it would be good actually if the investigation still was carried out, because I think it would be good to know the truth. But ultimately, I think these things should be about fair process and transparency rather than trial by media.
And I've got to ask you, should you have known more about him before you signed that letter?
No, the letter was about principles, and the principles...
Well, yes, obviously, dude. You've obviously foolishly signed a letter without looking into it for some sort of fucking PR shit, rather than going... What am I even signing here? Oh, it turns out I've looked at it and the guy's a plagiarist. Yeah, I'm not signing that shit. Fuck that.
Principles was about the university being able to conduct an investigation if it needed to. It had already done, I think, 2 investigations and found there was no problem here, or the allegations were unfounded. And so it was about...
See, this is the issue, man. Obviously, there's some righties that are so obsessed with DEI. They always bang on about it. It's not always the correct thing to look at, right? The problem with some of these progressives is they refuse to believe that it could be a problem at all. And so they end up in a position where they think that, these investigations are completely unassailable in terms of quality or whatever. Whereas I look at it and I think, no, I could easily see them turning a blind eye in the height of, Floydism or whatever. I could easily see them being like, fuck, I'm not really doing a good job of it. I can see them protecting their DEI hire in that situation. And you need a bit more of that. You need a bit more skepticism. You need to think there was a fucking hysteria after Floyd got killed. So maybe there is something here that we should be concerned about.
Essentially saying that people of colour, particularly in society, can sometimes be held by higher standards.
Yeah, they do the same thing in the opposite direction. Exactly. And the correct position is just look at each case on its merits. And if there is a claim based on merit of some funny business and DEI is cause and prop, then fucking say it. What is it? But people like Zach Polanski are just too ideologically compromised that they can't possibly accept that DEI could lead to like a bad outcome. Oh, the plagiarism is explicit and egregious. It is very bad. I don't have it to hand, but it's literally.
Sadly, you're raped.
Yo, Rodimus Prime, thank you for the 5 gifted. Thank you. I mean, here's a quick example of it. This is one of the examples. So the yellow is word for word, and green is small changes, but largely the same concept. So, yeah. I mean, to me, this is like, I'm not an academic, but I see a lot of yellow there. That's my kind of thought process for this. And they're saying that this got investigated and no wrongdoing was found when it's this explicit. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy case. Thank you for the subs, by the way. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So let's get more on this with our correspondent Graham Stoddard, who's here with us. Graham, morning to you. So just give us a background
it's a thin version
how we
of
got
me.
to this point then.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Polanski, he was one of 16,000 people who backed Jason Arday in a letter following this controversy among other MPs and Lords showing support for the professor. Mr. Polanski then, after the resignation, spoke on LBC. He said that the investigation launched by Cambridge should be carried out, but he also said that the whole affair seemed pretty sad and that these things should be about fair process and transparency rather than trial by media. He said that after a number of media reports questioning Professor Arday's professional and personal...
See, the problem with this as well is the media were inhibited for properly releasing this because there was that fucking journal that got investigated by the police and told to stop contacting Arday, and they didn't publish an article because they're worried about getting sued. So without the trial by media, you don't get to this position. The only reason Cambridge are doing anything is because there was a fucking trial by media in the first place.
Personal achievements, because on paper he's got a hugely impressive resume. He became Cambridge's youngest ever black professor when he was just 37 in 2023. But he's also raised lots of money for charity, £5.5 million, running 600 miles in 6 days. So he claims, but as I said, these have been called into question. There are questions that he plagiarised his PhD thesis. There are questions surrounding the truth about those fundraising
What's the
claims.
Lawrence Fox thing?
As a result, Cambridge University decided to launch this inquiry into primarily his academic qualifications and honorary achievements, honorary appointments. They say they did that after new information was revealed, and last night, obviously, off the back of that, Professor Arday made the decision to resign.
Yeah. And what's he had to say? Because he's put out this statement where he resigns. Has he addressed the allegations that he's facing?
So he hasn't directly addressed them, but he's spoken around it. So
What is so mental about the Zach Polanski thing is, God, Zach Polanski has made so many gaffes recently. It's not, you know, before you put your pen to paper, you would surely do your due diligence and check, am I defending a guy that is indefensible here? Because I genuinely don't think that Zach Polanski looked into it. I think he saw an ideologically driven narrative that suited him and signed along the dotted line. Because I do not believe that anyone can, in good faith, look at what's there and go, oh no, this guy's innocent. Because to a layman, it's explicit. It's there in black and white and yellow and green, you know?
resignation letter that was published on a website called Good Law Project. I'm going to read some of it out for you now, but it's quite long. He's addressed it to his colleagues, and he said, while criticism is an inevitable part of academic life, what I have experienced has gone far beyond scholarly disagreement. The relentless accusations, speculation and public commentary have taken a profound toll on me and on those I love. He goes on to say the decision should not be interpreted as a loss of faith in scholarship or in the values that first brought me to Cambridge, nor should it be mistaken for an acceptance of the narratives that have surrounded me. It's simply a decision of someone who has reached the limits of what any person should reasonably be expected to endure. So as he said there, he's not accepting this resignation shouldn't be like, yes, this is all true. He's obviously not accepting some of those reports that have been laid out. He has a memoir coming out that's still due to be published later this month in a promo video for the book. He described how he was diagnosed with autism when he was 3 years old, couldn't read or write till he was 18, which makes his achievements even more amazing. But obviously it's all in question now. But 16,000 people backing him is no small thing.
Dude, the fucking mainstream press, man. It is literally the racist nutters that have got the best coverage. That's the thing. The racist nutters are the best coverage of this, or like fucking unheard. The mainstream press is just shit at talking about this.
I'm delighted to say that Zach Polanski, the Green Party leader, is with me in the studio. Mr. Polanski, welcome back to LBC. It's very good to have you here tonight.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Can I interrogate this claim that the climate crisis is the biggest crisis since World War II? I think the climate crisis is bad. I think it's getting worse. But it's not quite on the level of the Blitz, is it? I mean, you said today that the scenes that we've seen playing out on our television screens are frankly apocalyptic. I mean, are they? Or was it just...
Okay, dude, come on, man. I've been concerned by some of the news footage, but this is, you know, this is classic... Oh, well, we're the Green Party and we're for the green stuff, so we're going to call this the craziest shit we could think of.
A bit of a nasty fire on some heathland in Suffolk.
I think it almost doesn't matter what a politician thinks about this. It matters what the science thinks or what the science knows. And in the last couple of months alone, we've seen 3,000 people die as a result of the extreme heat. Just yesterday, I was in Oxfordshire where I saw trees that were scorched. I saw cars burnt out. I saw local businesses decimated. In Suffolk, there was a fire. There was the equivalent...
Yeah, dude. Right. Local business decimated. And we're going to be doing the decimating when we tax them out of their fucking eyeballs, actually. We want the businesses operating so we can tax the fuck out of them and destroy them ourselves. The fact this guy was top pick for the job paints a bleak picture for progressive politics in your country. Dude, this guy was, you know, dude. He's good. He was good. He's good at fucking as a leader of the Green Party. But unfortunately, he's been raped by a number of repeated gaffes. And Burnham's now heading up Labour. Because these people are fickle, man. They don't give a fuck. If Burnham's a bit more lefty, they'd rather go with the party. You know, they'd rather go with the party that's more kind of likely to win. You know, it's like supporting your favourite football team. Dude, I've got to go in 10 minutes. I will be back later. Though. Let's watch a bit of this quick and then I'm going to go.
I will not submit. I will not adhere to the religious laws of far-off places. Now, my wife asked me not to show this for fear of repercussions in my family, but I told her that if I did not, then I had already submitted to Islam. So here we are.
Is it not enough that half the team that invited you to this debate were Muslim women who wanted to hear out your expression and your arguments? Is it not enough that I, as a Muslim president, have invited you to this chamber to give your arguments? Is that not enough justification and evidence for you to believe that we do believe in free speech? I would not become the president of a free speech society if not for that.
Thank you, Laura. Oh, well, may I? Thank you very much. So it is in that spirit that...
This guy's a fucking joke, by the way. Lawrence Fox is a fucking idiot, man. He's like worse than fucking Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage combined.
I will not submit that I show you this.
How you doing? This is Sahar TV, and in today's video, we're watching another Oxford Union debate.
Okay, what did he show?
Aiming at, and I hope this journey may open the way to get it.
Is it Mohammed? Is it a picture of Mohammed?
Here we are, 87 years later, and European peace and peace in the West is being threatened again.
I want to see what he shows.
Is it not enough that half the team that invited you to this debate were Muslim women who wanted to hear out your expression and your arguments? Is it not enough that I, as a Muslim president, have invited you to this chamber to give your arguments? Is that not enough justification and evidence for you to believe that we do believe in free speech? I would not become the president of a free speech society if not for that.
Thank you, Laura. Oh, well, may I? Thank you very much. May I finish? Excuse me.
A point of order having been raised, I will hear the ex-librarian.
It's a long time since I've been in this chamber and knew the rules off by heart. But in the House of Commons, and we model ourselves on the House of Commons, props are not allowed. I wonder whether the rule on props is the same in the...
Oh, he's raping him.
I thank the honourable gentleman for his point of order.
Excuse me for one second.
One moment.
In the
one
absence,
moment. Mr. Fox,
in the
one
absence,
moment. One moment, Mr. Fox. The ex-president is also raising a point of order, I think.
Just so it's helpful to inform the ex-librarian and others, at least my 4 years involved with society, that ban was not extended and didn't seem to apply to Israel or Palestine flag.
Thank you. So, right. I just want to wrap this up.
I am going to rule on the point of order. There is no bar in the forms of the House against the use of props. However, I would encourage Mr. Fox to make the point and move on.
I was until points of order. So it is in that spirit that I will not submit that I show you this as an Englishman who believes in free speech.
If I went up there and denied the Holocaust, I'd be laid out in handcuffs. He's so brave for talking about Islam.
Thank you for the 333. Thank you. Thank you. You understand what's happened here, don't you? So he's done this bit, which is I'm going to show Mohammed. Oh, I've got Mohammed. I've got Mohammed in here. Oh, is it Mohammed? It's like the old Richard Dawkins video about talking about draw Mohammed. Mohammed. And he's actually got a picture of fucking Jacob Rees-Mogg instead. Okay, I mean, he's right.
I will not submit. I will not bow down. Right. So
I found that a bit awkward.
Beautifully handled, and I'll talk about it in a second.
I think which rather proves the point I was trying to make, that in this envelope lived your fear, and your fear of Islam and what Islam will do to you that when you upset its very oversensitive sky wizard. And
oh no, he's fucked up.
What lived in this room is a healthy and brilliant and noble British tradition of suspicion of Islam. I encourage you to pass the motion. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't like Lawrence Fox, but yeah, obviously as an atheist, I do see the point he's trying to make. And it is preposterous that there would be this kind of, and you know, fear over a fucking picture. I do, because you might be showing Muhammad. It's so fucking stupid, man. But yes, you can get there quicker by calling them pedophile, rapist, go fuckers. That is true as well. He could have taken a shortcut. But yes, obviously everyone was scrambling to silence him because they were worried he was going to blaspheme, essentially. It's you know, it's a commentary on Muslims against blasphemy, even though ostensibly it's a liberal society. There's still this rule against showing Muhammad, and there could be severe negative consequences for showing Muhammad. You know, guys, I need to go for now. So I went live early because I need to do some stuff. I got some men coming to mount something. Okay, but I will be back in probably 3 to 4 hours. So roughly around the time. About 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I'll be live again, okay? Pleasure. Mount your game toll. And I need to make some phone calls. And also, it sucks to stream when there's people in the house. I can't really let loose. So we're going to get that squared away. And then I'll be back in a few hours. And the first thing we'll be talking about, more or less, is the Perez Hilton stuff, which is fucking insane, dude. Absolutely fucking insane. So swing by for that, guys. Thanks for watching this early stream. I appreciate it. I'm going to go and... Yeah, this is going to be me. Where's that picture? What, do you know the picture of the guy on the bed watching the work people? That's going to be me. That's going to be me. But I'm not going to raid anyone. Because of what I want you to do. Oh, wait, no, I'm going to raid Alabama John. Yo, I can raid Alabama John. Let's go. Yes, we can raid him back. Let's go. Guys, I don't know what kind of content he does. Hopefully it's good. Thank you very much for watching. Much appreciated. Good luck. See you in a few hours. See you in a few hours. Bye, 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 bye.